In that world of getaway. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Wrestling on the Rocks. Staying at home, stay inside. How you doing, Clump?
Doing good. I don't know whose house I took over, but I got a cool place to work.
I noticed you have a bunk bed.
Yeah, no kids.
Is that for more space to do activities?
Exactly.
Perfect.
It's actually kind of funny how we got it. We just got told, hey, we got a bunk bed for you from family members who we didn't have kids. They knew we weren't planning on kids, and we were like, oh, why? Well, we're going to give it to you. But we don't need it. And then I came home one day and we had a bunk bed.
Not bad.
It's a really shitty, heavy bunk bed.
Not a bad deal at all. I bet you got loads of space for loads of activities, though. You guys can do more than ever.
I do, but imagine if I didn't have a fucking bunk bed, how much more activities we could do in here. We're not using this room as a bedroom.
No one sleeps here.
Yeah, no. I know, more room for activities, but you know what makes even more room? No fucking bed at all.
Yeah, no bed at all would have been, I think, probably the way to go.
Yeah.
So how you doing? How you holding up?
Doing pretty good. Things are going good. Things are weird. I think that's everyone's takeaway right now. Things are weird. It's been nice watching wrestling because it's been like a consistent space for new stuff, and it's interesting. It's maybe the most creative I've ever seen wrestling be.
Yeah, I think it's been pretty fascinating lately. Almost everything's worth watching just on basis of alone of, well, what are they going to do?
Mm-hmm.
You know? So even if the stuff you don't like is still interesting to watch, to go, oh, that's how they decided to do that. Where before now, it was everything you watched was basically, I'm watching it because it's wrestling and this is what they do and that's how the show works. It's the way it always looks. They did the, like, things got really cyclical and I don't know, they got pretty clear and obvious. Oh, this is how you make a wrestling show. It became very clean cut. So much so that when AEW came on the scene and said, we're going to do a wrestling show unlike any wrestling show you've ever seen, we're going to present wrestling entirely different. It was just like all the other wrestling shows because that's just how wrestling shows have to look now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even in the ways that they were different, they were overall very much the same. You tuned in, oh, this is a wrestling show. Oh, this is how they do promos. Oh, this is how matches go. This is what the audience looks like. All that stuff was the same. So it's really cool now that everyone's backed up against a wall with all these weird situations that they have to go, well, how are we going to let it look this week? What are we going to do?
Absolutely. I think it's been cool because when you bring that up, I think maybe what happened with AEW and every show that says they're going to be a little bit different is when you're too far out of the formula. There have been wrestling shows that are just a bit too far out, and they don't last.
Mm-hmm.
Lucha Underground didn't last, so that
comes to mind.
Was in my eyes, that was because it was on a very, very low-rated network with very, very few people able to watch it. So it's a unique spot. It's an expensive show to run on a very small network.
I agree. The first time I saw it on Netflix,
MTV
I wish that more people had seen
had a
it.
show for a while, like a hardcore wrestling show, where they had effects for blowing up and stuff like that.
Who had that?
Didn't last more than 10 episodes.
Who had that?
MTV.
Just MTV in general had a wrestling show?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it.
Really?
Huh. That's really interesting.
Wrestling Society X.
Wow.
Yeah. And the premise of it was like hardcore wrestling, but they added in like digital effects and stuff like that. So like somebody would fall onto something and they would have like electrical effects and stuff like that. So if you're watching on TV, they'd make it look like a crazy Michael Bay movie.
Huh.
It lasted 8 episodes.
Oh, Stackhouse. Woo woo. Stackhouse knew exactly what you were talking about. Immediately said Wrestling Society X. How you doing, Stackhouse? How's it going out there in the old OK? I didn't know that one. I'll have to check that one out just to see what it looked like. But I agree, too. I think that Lucha Underground immediately comes to mind as far as shows that look different and feel different. They just didn't do it. I think that being on Netflix, it could have been if it was like a Netflix show, but the fact it needed El Rey to get to Netflix, I felt that was going to be that was probably the biggest thing that was an issue. Because I think that style was great.
Well, I think like Netflix has shown that there is, an interest in wrestling content. Glow isn't a wrestling show, but it's also a wrestling show. It's talking about the story of a promotion, and that's really cool. I think it would be neat to see, somebody tie in with Netflix. Like, I would love to see, like, Ring of Honor or somebody, come up with or some new promotion come up with a new kind of style of wrestling and present it on Netflix in that style.
Yeah, I think it'd be great. And I honestly thought that's truly what we were getting with AEW. Finally, a big platform for something more creative like a Lucha Underground. Something more cinematic even. And I feel like that in this weird situation, we forced everyone to do it. I'm also super excited to see what stays. After this is all said and done, what are they going to say? You know what? I don't want that to go away. That was actually much better than how we were doing things before. Or how much of it immediately goes back to nope, didn't like to have to do any of that. Now we're going to do this other thing. I think empty arena promos could be a fucking thing. You know what I mean? Especially when you think about, I know you said before we got on the air, you did not watch NXT, correct?
I did not.
There was a promo at the end with Triple H in the ring. Ciampa interrupts, comes on out. Gargano comes on out, and they do this promo back and forth in an empty ring that I thought was just like fantastic TV. Just it was a really good promo between the two of them. Three of them, really. I thought it was amazing. And that's the kind of thing I think I'd like to say continue, where it's like, instead of people coming out and saying stuff in front of everybody, maybe have these flashbacks or these moments of, we had a chance to get these guys in the ring before everyone came in. Take a look. You know what I mean? And you can potentially cut to something like that. I don't know. I'm not saying every promo from now on should be empty arena, but I'm saying that the feel for that promo I felt was so much different because of the empty arena feel. But at the same time, when you go to these wrestling events and you're a fan in the audience and they cut to these videos on the screen, the audio's never right. You can never quite hear it right away. You can't really tell what's going on. That's why you hear a bunch of the audience doing stuff in the background of those, which I think takes away from those to begin with. But at the same time, what do you do for the audiences in the stands once they're there, right? So, I don't know. I'll be curious to see what stays, what doesn't.
I think you can do more pre-tapes. You can do more Titantron things. Make it seem like they're part of the show currently going, backstage stuff like that, events there. And then have the action spill out into the arena. I think that works fairly well, because then the audience does get a reaction, gets to see something where it's more present. But yeah, I've really, like, the things I was not liking of wrestling before this all occurred that I think we need to do better are a variety of different styles of promos. I've appreciated, and we haven't seen this, but we saw it a few times before our hiatus, starting Raw or SmackDown with a match. It doesn't always have to start with a long promo, because to me, sometimes those are really long-winded. And they just, to me, there's times where you want to just jump into something that's really neat. That's something I will say I have liked at times of Dynamite, when it just starts with a match. I'm like, oh, cool, this is awesome,
Yeah, I mean, they got to be careful with it too, though. Oh, shoot, this just in, Kylie Ray just signed with Impact.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. You heard it here first.
A few of their events.
Unless it was posted hours ago and I didn't see it. But otherwise, you heard it here first. Let's see. Stackhouse says that he's doing good back there, that he's enjoying being stuck at home. And he followed Lucha Underground through the first 2 seasons and never got back into it. That's exactly where I was. I watched the first 2 seasons, thought this is something special, and then kind of forgot to go back because like we said, it was on a network that went to Netflix. So you had to wait for this weekly episodic show to play out for, 12, 13 weeks, and then wait a couple months and then show up. So it's like between seasons wasn't like between seasons of the Ozark now, where you wait a few months and there it is. It was like, okay, there's enough time to go by to where you'll just legitimately forget about it.
Well, there's another thing, too, with El Rey. So I watched their stuff on YouTube, and they would have matches on YouTube, and the matches were good, or segments that were really good. what was upsetting when I would go to like my parents' house that had El Rey on their provider, they would play it once a week. They wouldn't play lead-in episodes. They wouldn't play like repeats. They'd play it once a week,
Oh.
and that sucked. Especially like if you're Raw, if you're SmackDown, and people are looking for this show. Yeah, you can play it at a certain time and people know about it because it's built in.
Yeah.
But when you're coming in to a small network that majority of is playing weird old sci-fi and kung fu movies, which I love, put in some other content too.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They would have like all day it would be Godzilla movies, and that's great. And then that would transition to the next day of all kung fu movies, and then for like a half hour they would have Lucha Underground, and then they would have their other original shows that night, but they wouldn't replay them at all through the weekly schedule, and that's like a death sentence to me.
Yeah, if you're not getting a chance to see it a second time.
Yeah.
Stackhouse, just out of curiosity, because you're the only one who lets me know you're in there. How are we sounding? How's Clump sounding? Obviously, this is a different setup. This is a different look than we typically have. But we're trying it out. We want to see. So if you let us know what's good, what's bad, what's got to stop, let us know, because we're trying this out to see how it goes. Man.
Sounds good to him.
He's just fucking yawning. Sounds good. Cool. Sounds good, Stackhouse.
Let me just chug Coke, okay?
When we did a test run over the weekend, and when I played it back, it sounded to me kind of like something to wrestle, just where one person sounds slightly different than the other person, but you could hear what they're saying. We'll see how this goes. If we are able to get Kevlar perhaps back on the show at some point, then this would be the format for that for the time being as well, and curious to see how that would sound as well. But we're happy to be doing this. We're happy to hang out. We're happy to talk wrestling. With that in mind, I think this week we're going to try and get a Jameson sponsorship. If anybody knows anybody who works at Jameson, this cold brew is the elixir of life. There's nothing better than it. And I'd leave my whole life behind for a case of this stuff. So,
did you get any word back from Ryan Reynolds?
Did we reach out to Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, we commented, or we liked his stuff. I think we commented, but nothing.
Never heard back. So we got to do a more aggressive Twitter campaign to try and get Ryan Reynolds to sponsor the show. But until then, yeah, a little bit of Jameson cold brew goes a long way. A little cease and desist would be welcome as well. Basically, acknowledgement of existence. That's all we need. So I guess let's get into it. Unless there's something else you want to talk about or something you want to say to anybody?
I think we'll go as we go. But yeah, let's jump into it. Do you want to start with NXT or AEW?
Let's go over NXT real quick. You didn't watch it, so I might as well just talk about what had happened on it. Overall, this was a pretty wrestling-heavy show, man. They had a bunch of matches. They had, let me see, they had Tyler Breeze versus Austin Theory, Killian Dane against Tahuti Miles. Tahuti Patootie, I believe.
It's what he kept calling him.
Yeah, and he was wearing, like, camo overalls.
Oh, yeah.
It was very upsetting to watch, just from a visual standpoint. You had Cameron Grimes against Tony Nese. Io Shirai defeating Aliyah to get into the number one contenders ladder match. So Chelsea Green tweeted out that she was going to watch the match tomorrow night, which is going to be 6 women in a ladder match to determine who's going to be... Is she in the ladder match, Chelsea Green? Hold on, I just had it. Oh, God. See Stackhouse. Secondary. Whoop, whoop. I don't have it with me. Chelsea Green said that she was going to see who was going to be in the ladder match so she could see... she's going to watch very closely to see who she needs to pin to win the ladder match. And I was like, not a great strategy to win a ladder match. Find out who you're going to pin. Let's see, Keith Lee. Keith Lee got into a fight with Damian Priest and Dominik Dijakovic. I really want them to separate Dominik Dijakovic and Keith Lee. I think keeping them together this long is problematic.
It's becoming kind of like, to me, it's like Ray and Andrade, or like there's got to be a reason for them to come together. I thought them becoming a tag team made sense for the amount of matches they had. Yeah, that's cool. Have them merge, but when you keep having like merge and diverge and come together and then keep wrestling, it's like, okay, well, you guys really work well together, but what are we saying here? That one or both of them don't work well with other people? Or that one or both of these guys, we have a weakness that we have to cover, or something else, There's got to be something to it.
Yeah. I think that they may think it's the next Ciampa Gargano story, but I really think that it's not. And I'm really not as interested in it as they are... they're pushing it. We also had Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch against Shane Thorne and Brendan Vink. Then we had Candice LeRae against Kaden Carter. Matt Riddle against Roderick Strong. And, I mean, that's all the wrestling matches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matches on the card that night. That's pretty wrestling heavy.
That's a good event. That's almost like a pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's pretty much a regular show. Actually, in some cases, that's more matches than you would get in a typical show for them. I think most notably, the things that happened on there that you missed out on was that there was a tag team that came out with Malcolm Bivens. They attacked the Matt Riddle because the other Broserweight couldn't be out there. They attacked Matt Riddle. Malcolm Bivens came out and said, "Allow me to introduce you to the team that's going to destroy you," and then proceeded to not give a name. And they just left that at that. So the introduction, I thought, could have been better. Most introductions involve a name of some kind, but they were screaming in a different language. They looked pretty... I mean, it was very Wild Samoans, to be honest. It was very Wild Samoans-esque, which I wasn't a huge fan of. They even did a face paint that was kind of war paint-ish. So I don't know who they are. They're pretty big dudes, though. And then it ended with a really great...
They're not
promo.
Authors of Pain?
Actually, that's what people were saying. Like, who were the big guys that were not Authors of Pain? So, but they came off like a Wild Samoan style. So, I don't know. But we did end up with Triple H getting in between Ciampa and Gargano and saying that this has to end. It was a really great promo. I wouldn't say you got to go back and watch all of this stuff, but if you got a chance to sit down and watch that ending promo, pretty cool stuff. It was really cool the way that Triple H was pushing the match to be on the grandest stage of them all, or in front of the largest audience. He kept saying this needs to be on the biggest stage possible, and Gargano kept cutting him off, just saying, "No, we don't need that. We just need a place to fight." You know what I mean? And Gargano said he needed 2 weeks. But it was a really cool way to say, here's a WrestleMania quality match that you're going to get on weekly television. The way that they were presenting it and pushing it was really, really cool. Triple H says he just has to find a building, which I think is interesting. So I hope it's in a bakery.
TCC.
Yeah. It's going to be in the back of a U-Haul.
Oh, no. That didn't go well for Dustin before.
No. Just no bleeding. Can you imagine putting a ring in the back of a U-Haul? Not just like a haystack like they did? They're like trying to hit the road.
There's less traffic. I mean, yeah, we can do it now.
That's true. It'd be more stable. Overall, it was a really good show. I thought the wrestling was solid. It's moving towards matches coming up. It's I like that they've kind of put a blatant hold on pay-per-views as far as NXT is concerned. And I thought they did a really good job of having Gargano and Ciampa talk with Triple H. Which will also lead me into... Oh, they did a little segment with Adam Cole talking poolside about something that I kind of only... I just don't like Adam Cole, man. I don't know what the deal is, but that was kind of the basis of NXT. A lot of wrestling, very few promos, a small Adam Cole one, and a pretty good length Gargano-Ciampa one. He says he lost audio.
Nope.
Where's your mouse?
I was trying to get to the FaceTime.
Wait, no, I hear him. It's on his side.
Here? Oh.
It's on his side. Because I can hear something going on.
How about now,
Can you not hear me? Say something. Say something. I'm giving up on you.
Clip.
He's like not even trying to talk. This is the problem.
Talk.
Yo.
We hear you. Oh, so does that mean that we may have become muted?
Let me see. Say something.
I've been saying stuff. I'm saying loads of stuff.
We have become. Nope, we're good.
Going out. But I'm saying on FaceTime, do we get muted? He gets a loud hum and nothing else.
Really?
Okay. Let me see.
Sorry, FaceTime's done. Oh.
Okay, you're back.
We're back? You said we're back.
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
Never mind.
Did nothing.
Yep. Something happened on your side, I think, Clump.
Sorry, guys. Woo. And he just left. He left the call. Alright, this is good.
I think he's going to call her back. Audio issues persist with or without headphone. Well, shit. Let's see if we can get him back.
Alright, should I call?
I'm hoping he's about to call right back.
Sorry, guys.
Here he goes. Do you have him calling in on your side?
I do. Here we go. I just clicked accept, so...
Good.
There we go. Hello? Lumpy, can you hear me?
Yo.
Club!
Why can't I see him? That's interesting.
I can hear you guys.
There we go.
Let me see real quick. I'm gonna do something.
Yay.
You got him back?
I got him back.
Did we see him?
Well,
Oh, shit.
yeah,
It's a whole other thing. All right.
Sorry about that.
Can you tell me how to do that so I can do it? Or-
You just have to close the top one. See, I think you just have a hard time tracking it because you're not used to that. So I'm just gonna do it real quick.
I don't do it. I'm not gonna learn.
Yeah, but live is not the time to learn.
So it sounds like NXT was pretty awesome.
And this is strictly just how do you track with the mouse, and it's really weird to do in this current situation. I'm just used to doing it off stuff that's not there. Clap! Clap! Oh shit.
What?
Your audio source changed to that. Fuck. You're on the home pod. We've lost all our viewers, I'm sure.
Nope,
Okay.
we actually have more viewers.
More people are like, how the fuck is this happening?
Bastards.
If you're
Bastards.
if you're just tuning in, sorry guys, we are dealing with some technical difficulties and about to fix it. Marsh is running back over. We were just talking about NXT. I don't know how many of you guys watched.
Say something, Clump.
Clump talk.
Nope.
Hey!
Woo! 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 Woo!
This is easy. Why isn't everybody doing this? This is how it's always supposed to be. Welcome to the show where every show's like our first show. Go ahead, give us a like, a sub, a follow, prime subscribe, buy us a drink. We only get better at this the more we drink.
Yeah.
Oh. This lock-in's got me not moving a lot, and that was a lot of movement. Are you about to spill live on camera?
Probably.
Yep, there
I
it is.
just did.
It's getting everywhere. So yeah, NXT was pretty cool. I would say if you get the chance, go back and watch the Triple H promo. I really like the way, and anybody who's not Sam Shill knows that Sam talked about it as well. It was a very, very clever way to push the match as a WrestleMania caliber match that you're going to get on network TV. So very, very cool.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for everybody sticking around.
Thank you for putting up with us.
Stackhouse is looking towards other Stackhouse right now going, this is exactly why I took my shirt off of their site. This is the problem.
We could not have them representing us.
Yeah. See, I fucking told you. There's no way we're putting our shirt on their store. It's like, I don't care.
Maybe we should just stick to drawing things, and by we, I mean you.
Yeah. Like, I don't care if they drew it. I want it down. So,
Alright. So overall,
NXT was pretty cool. I was really excited the way they did it. I think the no audience has brought a lot out of the wrestlers. They're having to show off in a way that they don't typically need to. Mm-hmm. There's nothing hiding it, like the cheers. There's no fuck up that they do where you go, well, the crowd seemed to like it. You know what I mean? All that's gone.
Yeah.
I think that NXT's done a great job of changing up their style of wrestling to be something more that you can watch without the audience saying, we forgive you, you know?
I agree. I think everything we've seen, because of where they're at and not able to rely on crowd reaction or pumping for the crowd, there's a lot you have to do. You have to put on an amazing match, and you can't just rely on pausing and, trying to perform for the crowd.
Yeah.
I honestly think that's why we've seen some performers be less present, is because they are big parts of their matches are so focused on crowd reaction. We really don't need them here. Doing the train thing around the ring to an empty arena looks dumb as fuck.
I think there's also something to be said for who we've been seeing talking versus who we haven't. Since this whole lockdown has happened, we haven't had a single promo from Drew McIntyre. Not a word from Braun Strowman. We've heard nothing out of Goldberg. I think we got a line out of him. I was going to go through and look at all of the WrestleMania matches we have listed so far, because I was thinking about it, and most of the people in the matches are not talking about their matches. There's usually one person in that match who's been talking every week, and I think part of that could be that, let's see, WWE confirmed that Roman Reigns is out, although they haven't addressed that on their thing yet.
Yeah.
But when you look at the matches, okay, let's go through it real quick. Brock and Drew. Drew's been silent. I think they're also only giving the mic to people, like you said, with matches, people who can run a different style match, like putting Daniel Bryan and Cesaro in a match, putting Drew Gulak and Shinsuke in a match. It takes a special kind of talent to be able to perform with no crowd at all and be able to put on a good match that someone could go back and rewatch. I think a lot of the talent we have nowadays is reliant on the crowd, does everything for the crowd, and without the crowd, they're nothing. These are talent who are such great technical talent that, crowd or not, they can put on a great match. I think the same to be said with Mike. I think they're only giving mic time to people who don't need a script. I think they're working on them with what they're saying, but I don't think they need a script. So I think that we hear Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre. We've only heard from Paul Heyman. We've heard nothing from Drew McIntyre. Yeah. Goldberg and Roman, we heard more out of Roman than we heard at all from Goldberg. Edge and Orton, we're hearing a lot from both of them. Cena and The Fiend, we're getting a good amount of both of them. Mm-hmm. Becky and Shayna, mostly all Becky. Mm-hmm. Very little from Shayna. Rhea and Charlotte, nothing from either. They've been replaying the same video packages over and over.
Just backstage stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Been a lot of, these little moments where they yell a couple of lines and say, let's give them one or two lines, but that's about it. Bayley, Lacey, Tamina, Naomi, and Sasha. We've been hearing a lot from Bayley and Sasha. We got one line out of Lacey and one line out of Naomi, one line out of Tamina, but we've been seeing Bayley and Sasha talk every week.
I feel like we got a little bit more out of Naomi, but
she came out that one Lacey, to the one scrum.
I think Lacey and Naomi weren't too bad. I think Tamina was the odd one out there more than anyone.
But none of them did bad. Talked. I'm not saying that anyone who has spoken has done a bad job, but I'm saying that I think they're giving the majority of the mic time to people specifically.
Yes.
We heard very, very little out of Naomi and Tamina. I thought Naomi and Lacey did a good job with the lines they had, but I do think that they were given a lot less mic time than they'd be giving Bayley and Sasha.
Absolutely.
Undertaker and AJ.
No.
We've been hearing a lot from both. Kevin Owens and Seth, a lot from both. Sammy and Daniel Bryan.
A lot from both.
Oh, yeah, a lot from both. Street Profits, Austin Theory, and Angel Garza. Mostly Street Profits, but even then, that's been regulated. That's been shortened. They were given commentary time, but not mic time. Miz and Morrison, New Day, and Usos. Mostly Miz and Morrison, but they've given promo time to both New Day and Usos. But it's been a little protected. Kabuki Warriors, Alexa and Nikki. It's almost been all Asuka.
Yes.
They gave a little bit of time to Bliss and a little bit of commentary to Nikki. Aleister Black and Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley's nowhere to be seen or heard at all. Aleister Black, not a word. No promos from Aleister.
He's present, but we're not seeing it. It's weird. Like when they said they were talking when I was watching that he was going to face Bobby, I was like, huh, okay. Like it felt like such a weird surprise to me. And then he doesn't talk. He's never been a big talker, but it just seemed weird.
Yeah.
You know? I think the New Day, Uso, and Miz and Morrison, maybe they've all done the best. I would like to have seen more time be given to the Usos, and the New Day do well. I think the New Day in any spot they're in do fantastic. And the Usos do too. But I feel like they're the one that maybe has the least amount of time. I feel Miz and Morrison have gotten too much time.
I agree.
I know that they have the belts, but I feel like whenever they go out, they don't do well. They do well on commentary. They're great at being heels. I don't feel that their promos really land well to me. I feel like them on the mic, it's Miz, not Morrison talking.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that Miz and Morrison are... What the fuck, man? I think that Miz and Morrison are overrated and overtrusted. I think that they're not bad. Yes. I think they're very confident on the mic, but I think their ability to get across what needs to get across is limited. I think that it's one thing to be super confident in what you're saying. It's another thing to be super accurate in your delivery. And I think that's where they miss. And then the other ones we got, Elias and Corbin. We've heard a bunch from both. And Otis and Dolph Ziggler. We've heard mostly from Ziggler. Not a lot from Otis. A little bit here and there. But I think if you look at it, if these matches are going to go on as advertised, then we know these people are available. We know the filming had happened. We know they were in the building. I mean, matter of fact, most of these people we've seen, but just haven't said anything, except for Bobby Lashley. Most of them we've seen, but they have not said a thing. So it's almost, I think that they're being really careful about who they're giving the mic to and who they're giving ring time to.
Yes. I think in some cases, it's not nearly as bad, but like sometimes I'm wondering still, like, well, why did this person have it and this person doesn't? Because there are people like maybe they, like with Miz and Morrison, maybe they're getting more time because they feel like they need it and they're protecting them because the New Day and the Usos are fine no matter what. I feel they're weirdly not needed. However, I agree with the decision to not see much of Drew, but then I question, well, why is Drew in the spot?
Yes.
Because his whole shtick as the face since winning the Royal Rumble has been the 3-second kick thing, which is stupid as shit. He's not doing enough. I've just not liked him since he won. I feel like he would have been better if he maintained this powerhouse gimmick and not saying much and being a monster. But the way he's been portrayed, or he's gone in to portray himself, I just dislike it. And it really won't translate well to an empty arena. It's just going to be weird, you know?
I think it's 100%. There's a huge disconnect. I have not felt connected to that character since he became way more jokey. And I've even heard a bunch of interviews where he was talking about it and how much he likes this version of his character so much more because it's so much more closer to how he is as a person. And I think that there's a difference between... So everyone says the characters that click and the ones that last forever are the ones that are really close to your own personality. I get that, but there's also got to be a difference between your personality because not every aspect of your personality is gonna click the same way. And like you said, he didn't like being the Scottish psychopath because he's like, because I wasn't really doing psychotic things. And it's like, okay, but you came off as a fucking weirdo who kicked off people's heads. That's enough to say he's a psychopath. I think the countdown to Claymore is going to be absolutely... I mean, if it's not stupid already, which I think it is, it's going to look absolutely ridiculous in an empty arena if he does the 3, 2... And I can't stand any of it. I think that if he became a bit more serious, it'd be easier to get behind someone like that. You didn't see Stone Cold doing the countdown to the stunner. You know what I mean? You got Shawn Michaels doing the tuning up the band, but that wasn't anywhere near the countdown. So, I don't know. I agree with you. I think that the fact that he's not being utilized at all is kind of an expose as to why maybe he doesn't need to win this match. I mean, we could talk more about it when we get to Raw, but yeah, I agree. I don't know why he's in this spot if he's not out there talking and pushing it. He's done nothing to push this match forward since they went off the air, since they went off tour.
I mean, even I would say that he's not done a great job pushing it at all. Even when he was out there doing it, I mean, I was super pumped when he won at Royal Rumble. I was like, oh, this will be really interesting.
I thought it was exciting.
Then Raw happened.
Yeah.
And just kind of like, okay, well, I'm not that interested anymore.
Yeah. Get me back into it.
That was fast. Yeah. And it's not gone there since.
Yeah, I've gotten nowhere near.
We can get into that more with Raw.
Yeah. So let's get into the rest of Wednesday. AEW. Did you get to watch all of AEW?
I did. I liked this week's episode overall. I thought I had a lot of pretty decent spots. I liked the changes we saw where they did more creative out of the arena segments.
Did you like this week more than last week?
I think last week had some big pops. I think this week, I wouldn't say I liked it more. I'd say I like them pretty close. I liked last week's a little bit more because of just who came out and how they came out, and I really liked it. But I won't say that this is a huge step down because I liked a lot of what they did in neat ways. Which is fine. Yeah,
I just think personally, for me so far, I think the WWE Empty Arena shows have been, they started out kind of rough, and they've been getting a little more polished and looking a little better and trying things a little bit different. I did personally feel that this particular episode of AEW, I felt there was definitely huge chunks that were harder to get through than the week before. The week before, I thought they did an awesome job of most of it, where there was just people who I don't like in general doing stuff I didn't like because that's how they are. Where this one had a number of segments where I was like, I can't believe I'm sitting through this whole thing. Cringe. But that could also be still at the fault of the talent, not the circumstance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. Weird little things I liked. So I think they took a lot into consideration too. Like I noted the change in how they had the audience, and so a clever way of making sure you never have 10 people in an arena at once is have them off site. And
which I was okay with. I liked that because I didn't know how I felt about having them ringside, but when they put him in that crammed little trailer, I also felt mixed about that too. Where it's like, I mean, if you're gonna have them all anyways, cutting to them like you did before, at least when you put them ringside, they could be separate from each other. So I don't know. It felt like that's a damned if you do, damned if you don't thing. So like, I don't hold that against them. I didn't know if I felt like that was the answer quite yet. You know.
Maybe having them at home with like how we're set up, and have them watching and reacting to this at home.
Yeah.
Home. That might be an interesting way of doing it. You know what I mean? And then you could kind of like go to people as they're watching this, and maybe have a few people where they're hanging out together and stuff like that. Like, but have it where they're off site.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That I have the answer. I think I felt kind of like I said last week. I thought, okay, this is a cool way they're doing it. I don't know if it's the right thing to do. And I felt kind of the same about the off-site stuff. Although I did feel like, I don't know if I'm into the gambling gimmick of it, but that's kind of neither here nor there too. I don't hold those things against them. They're just trying to figure it out like the rest of us.
Yeah. I did like. So I liked the opening match. I liked Cody versus Jimmy Havoc. I thought Jimmy Havoc looked pretty decent. I think that might have been Cody really helping put him over because it was a match Jimmy Havoc's not known for. He's a hardcore guy. So seeing him in this was good. He looked okay. It was a solid match. It was a good opener, I thought. I thought the Cody's weird sprint out of the ring and then back into the ring was odd. And then I would have found it weirder if, like, I don't know. I noticed when Cody and Brandy kissed.
Yeah.
Not that that's kind of to be expected. They're a couple and they live together, so obviously they should be a worry there. But part of me was like, wait, shouldn't they do like an elbow thing? And then I was like, no, it'd be weirder if they did the elbows. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think that was the right move.
If you do.
I think the kiss was the right move. They're a couple. They're married. What are we supposed to believe that they're not kissing at home? Like,
yes.
I think that was the right move.
Plus, in a wrestling match where you're literally grabbing and touching each other, it's kind of weird to like then go elbows after,
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. So, I thought that was the right move too. That's not something I had any issues with.
I liked I liked the Jake promo out of the ring. I liked the video segment for it rather than him be speaking in the stadium, because last time he spoke in the arena was just really long-winded.
It was weird. I liked Fireside Jake too. Yeah, I had no problems with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that was a good creative way of doing it. I didn't like Darby Allin's dumbass video.
That video was so bad, dude. What did you think of what's his ass? Kenny Omega.
Xavier?
Kenny Omega, I think that's his name.
On commentary?
Yeah, what do you think of him on commentary?
It wasn't bad. It didn't stand out to me. He didn't do a bad job. He didn't do a good job. He did a job. It could have, to me, been significantly worse.
It could have. I did think it was ironic that he was like, well, we're out here trying to put on a very exciting and a very lively show. And he sounded absolutely sedated. I was like, come on, man. Like, kind of not, it didn't really click what he was saying.
It felt like an interesting choice to put him out there, because I feel like Cody did very good on commentary. Cody, I think, was a good choice. I think Kenny, they're trying to bring people in, and I'm not sure. I feel like he didn't do a great job putting over the talent. It didn't feel like the line you always say about like being the conductor to the symphony of the ring.
Yes.
It felt like he was trying to play along as an accompaniment, but he had only one drum.
Yes. And I felt like Tony had such a hard time, because he was legit just throwing to Kenny a number of times and trying to get him to say things, and he was just getting absolute garbage back, and then his responses to it. I felt like Tony was really struggling with it, with Kenny specifically. I did like Cody when he came back, was all fired up and upset about the Lance Archer stuff. I liked how he was even saying, he's like, he just got here. He goes, yeah, I see when he's did. He's like, but you don't start at me. You have to work to me. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that was super good. So smart, because it's also like, oh, he's dodging him. Is he dodging him or making him work for it? Because there's a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, Darby Allin.
Trying something.
Darby Allin has high school grade quality iMovie productions of super emo shitty videos that they need to stop putting out.
Yes. This one in particular, to me, like it, I was watching it and I was like, okay, so we're going to have you do a video package for the Inner Circle before you go to do a match with somebody not even related to it.
I think that was an accident. I think that was an accident. I think that they had him making that video for Inner Circle, and they didn't have a match for him for the Inner Circle. So he did this. So he just redubbed the audio over it.
Yes. And it's weird. I think, it didn't work out. And to me, it feels like it's like a new metal band or like an emo band video, but like not a good emo band. Like we're a tribute band to 30 Seconds to Mars.
It legitimately to me felt like sophomoric is the best way I can think to describe it. I made videos similar to that when I was a sophomore in high school to impress the juniors in high school, and we were working on video projects together. Like this was something that we would have definitely produced at a high school age. This was not impressive. These are the types of videos that I wouldn't have even held on to after the fact, but I would have through high school because I've been like, oh, you should see this thing I did. I'm so artsy. I'm so creative. But then you go back and you watch it with any amount of experience in your life and go, oh, okay, that's kind of childish and a little more angsty. It wasn't. I don't think it clicked with an audience above 17. You know?
Yeah, and then it makes sense when you saw all the live shows who was dressed up like Darby Allin. It was like a bunch of kids or
Just children,
people that look like children essentially. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, I like the character Darby Allin. Other than the skateboard, I still hate skating into the ring. I think it's stupid as hell. I like how he performs. I like his look. I like the intensity. I think there's other ways to add layers to these videos and do something different. Like he needs somebody to help with production and maybe do something that's a bit brighter because his character is rapidly one note to me.
It is, which is also funny because I really like the skateboard aspect to it. I mean, maybe he's just leaned so far into this, like, I'm a 17-year-old skateboarder. Maybe that's what the videos really do. They really put him in that spot. Like, I don't know how old he is, but he really reminds me of kids I went to high school with, but before they grew up. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it could very well be that this is just the best worked out gimmick that's out there because I think his music is actually the best music in the company right now. I think that his entrance is cool. It's a little different. The fact that he's skating out there. I didn't really agree too much with the Sting comparison apart from him having face paint and being blonde.
Yeah. I was like, when Tony said, that's different, Cody, I was like, yeah, that's a way to put it, Tony. I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
That's if I ever heard it.
Yeah.
To me, his music reminds me of the Rammstein song Rosenrot way too much.
Oh.
So whenever it comes out, I'm like, because I like that song, and I always kind of it's a cool song, but I'm like, this is a weird intro song, and I always hear that song come out. I'm like, it'd be way cooler if he just came out to Rosenrot.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, that's TNT. They're not going to be paying for that.
Yeah, no. But it would be cool. I mean, it'd be cool if it came out to Industrial Metal to me.
Yeah. I do think, though, that when they play those videos, that particular style video before Darby comes out, it kind of flattens Darby to me. You know, like I get so excited when I do hear his music and see him come out, and I go, okay, cool, this is a crazy, intense little dude. But they play those videos beforehand, and by the time that video is over, I'm like, fuck that kid, let him get his ass kicked, man. Like, you know?
If have somebody work with him to make him weird or to make him, I don't know, like there's people I could think of a style that you could do to make it more unique, like make it more like a David Lynch thing.
Yeah. I was going to say something even more like a Eraserhead, but that's David Lynch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is David Lynch.
Yeah. So, yeah, do something more dark like that. You could even go a certain, like, not quite all the way, but go a little bit more Bray Wyatt kind of it, where maybe what you're saying doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Maybe it's a little more cryptic. Maybe a little more static. You know what I mean? Like, it's too clean. It's like iMovie.
I think if he broke too, I think part of it is because he's so brooding and consistent and down. Having him break from that, cut a smile, kid, do something different rather than just always be down and yelling. It would make it more powerful and weirder. You would go like, what the fuck's this? And I think that would work with him. I think a lot of Bray Wyatt when he comes out and does these videos, because the Bray Wyatt Fiend and Firefly Funhouse videos have been so unique. They've been silly, but they've also been incredibly dark because they're really surreal.
Yeah.
And I feel like the difference between what Bray Wyatt's done and the WWE's done in this is to make something surreal and dark. Often it's not in the darkest way. It's a Slipknot video is dark because it's a Slipknot video and it's black and white and stuff like that. But it's those pops of color. It's those weird little extra things in it that help out. if you just do things in sepia tone and have this really basic, dark nature to it, it's not gonna stick. It's not gonna have anything there. It's one note. It's one person playing just a drum beat. You need something to go with it. You need, the rest of the band. And I think
maybe that's
that would
part
be
of it
better
too. Is it looks
you
like a
did
digital
something-
filter? It doesn't look like black and white. And if you were to just even crank up the contrast and add like a film type filter over top of it, just to make it look a little bit more like tactile, even that I think could go a long way. But I think the words have got to change.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
What do you think of Jake Hager? People are acting like they give a shit about Jake Hager right now, and I don't feel like anything he's done's made me give a shit. Do you like him?
I thought a couple weird thoughts to me. One, his trunks were hilarious to me because he's wearing Versace trunks.
Yeah, weird, right?
Which I was like, okay, and his music didn't match him, but I thought it was kind of funny that they're like, yeah, he's badass and he's doing this, and they're giving him squash matches, which, okay, that makes sense for that character, but that guy got a lot in on him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, okay, this is not a squash match.
Yeah, like I got
This
too
should
much
have
in.
been yeah, exactly. It should have been really rapid. I like Jake Hager's end. I like the referee stoppage thing, and I like how he's choking him out. I think that looks really cool.
Yeah.
I thought that should have been way faster.
It should have been faster, yeah. I also thought weirdly, and obviously I'm not a physique guy, but I thought that right now Cody and Darby and who else was in there looking better than they looked in a long time? I think even Kenny, they're Sammy Guevara, they're all looking leaner and like they're putting on some mass. I feel like Jake's looking like he's in worse shape than when he started with them. Like when he was in his first match in MMA, he was fucking cut. And then at this point, he's starting to get a little soft.
Well, when you're doing MMA and MMA training, like there's a couple, you can do a lot more. There could be a lot more flexibility to your build. Like Cain Velasquez never looked cut.
But I'm saying
Cain
Jake
Velasquez
did though.
What?
Jake did though. In Jake's first match as in MMA, I remember seeing him and going, oh, Jesus, that's Jack Swagger? This dude is jacked and cut. And then now he's coming in here starting to get a little more dumpy again, like I'm used to seeing him.
Well, the thing with it is, I could see it making more. It makes more sense to me. Like if you're doing a lot more types of workouts and you're maybe building for stamina versus for like cutting, like for his weight class, it makes more sense for me for him to have a bit more like weight on him, like more like less cut mass for length of matches, but also for getting hit. Shit, like.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar, even when he did UFC, he didn't look quite like the Brock Lesnar now in UFC. He slimmed down and he looked a little bit less cut. Like he doesn't look like Brock Lesnar in 2002.
Yeah.
And that's not. I don't think that's only due to age. I think that's also just a different style of building muscle and weight for being an athlete.
And training. What do you think about Moxley coming out and just scaring the shit out of Jake Hager? I thought it kind of undid the squash match.
Yeah, I thought it was a really cool idea, like to kind of put a lot behind Moxley. I think it would have looked cooler if Jake had more of a squash match. Like Moxley comes out and says, "I'm not scared of you," after he destroys someone super rapidly, and it should have been somebody who looked a bit scarier. Like feed Jake Hager somebody who is a bit bigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
a big dude.
If you're gonna bring in an indie talent, bring in an indie talent who's 6'5".
Yeah.
Bringing
a big dude that he just chops down real quick. But I didn't think Moxley had to come in and chase him out. I don't know why, but I just felt like that was a little weird. Just like, I don't know. But I guess after the match he just had, I guess he's going to be a little bit gassed. So maybe. But it was cool to see Moxley out there. Hey, what'd you think of the Brody Lee stuff?
I
hated it. I'll tell you up front. I hated all of it.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I want to like this. I want to see where it goes because I still think it's cool because I like Brody Lee. I liked him when he was Luke Harper, and I want to see him do more stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't like this week. I
I
didn't
was
like the
more
weird
excited
video
last
segment
week.
where he was basically Vince.
Yeah, well, but here's the thing on that too. He wasn't basically Vince. He was basically the people who know nothing about Vince but hate him anyways because he's the evil
Yes.
Vince. It's what they think of Vince. It's not even what Vince is like in stories. The only
It's
thing
this. It's this. Good.
I was listening to the Cornette was doing a review on it, and I mean I listened to a lot of the Cornette stuff, and I disagree with him more and more than I agree with him. But one of the things I thought was an interesting takeaway here was his co-host Brian Last was all like, when Cornette brought it up, he goes, "Oh, he does this stupid video where he goes through these things," and Brian Last goes, "Oh, but you realize he was being Vince, right?" And Cornette goes, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "That was Vince. The sneezing, the you can't eat before me, this and that, and going through the stuff." And he goes, "That's all Vince." And Cornette goes, "None of that's Vince." He's like, "Vince isn't like that." He goes, "As the only person here who's spent time with Vince, that's not Vince." And then Brian starts trying to defend the thing and go, "Oh, well, did you ever eat with him?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, I ate with him." He goes, "I didn't have to wait." He goes, "We ate at the same time." And he's like, "Well, did you ever eat steak with him?" Trying to defend it more. He goes, "Did you ever eat steak with him?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I didn't eat it as fast as him because the guy just swallows it down." He goes, "But he didn't tell me to wait, and I by no means waited." And he's like, "The only thing that's even remotely close is Vince doesn't like sneezing, but he doesn't throw people out of the office for sneezing." So it's just, again, it was like this, you're pushing towards a specific audience that thinks they know everything. It's these smart mark, we're above the actual facts of it all, and we've got this preconceived notion of what things are where we think they are, and he's feeding into that, which I don't know if he's intentionally doing it, which maybe he likes the idea of the character they've created for Vince. Like, I could see that, but I don't think that, I mean, just from the sound of it, people who have spent time with Vince don't say that that's what he's like.
Yeah, that was the thing. Is I think, in a sense, I agree with you. Is maybe the idea of being a character that's the interpretation of Vince is a cool character. But the thing is, we've heard so many people who are not very close to Vince create these stories about what Vince is, and it's become what Smarky Vince is. Smarky Vince hates sneezing, doesn't sleep. Says this is good shit, pal, to everything. Is only focused on wrestling. He's 24/7. He makes you before him. He farts in the car and doesn't let you react to it.
Yeah.
And everything I've heard from people who've spent a lot of time with Vince and people who don't have the best relationship with him, like JR and Pritchard at times, they describe him pretty differently. Bischoff, Cornette, they describe a guy who's unique, but he's a person. And I think it's really easy to focus on this, and I feel like it's almost like their version of the Billionaire Ted skit.
Yeah, that's what it feels
And
like.
I
That's
don't
exactly
want that
it.
to be. Yeah.
But
Because the Billionaire Ted skits didn't go well for WWE, so I don't know if it's a good idea to do them now.
I can appreciate the idea if the concept is, oh, as the Exalted One, I'll be a smarky Vince, and going through, like, this is what people perceive it as. So, for one, here's a company where the fans hate WWE unrelentlessly for any reason they want. So maybe it'll get them over. But I don't think it's connecting. I actually saw a lot of AEW fans not liking this skit in particular. But I could see the thought process if they're like, oh, hey, what if we do a thing based off of what people perceive there? That could be fun as a concept. But I don't think it landed, and I didn't like it.
I feel like, and to me, what was upsetting too with it is, I feel like our Dark Order has been such fascinating, interesting. I've liked their weird promos, and I've liked that it's almost like this weird cultish conspiracy theory. I've been fascinated. So having it become this parallel to WWE, and having myself, I'm overanalyzing and being like, yeah, I could see this and that, and I could see them making all these things really parallel to WWE and Vince. I don't want that. I want it to be like a weird dark cult. I want Brody Lee to be, rather than this, have him be at have a video package of him at putting out a video on Twitter or on Skype or some platform, and have him talk about like an evangelist.
Oh, yeah.
All of the benefits of it, and go into that more. Have him
That'd be
release
cool.
that before the show. Have him
preacher?
attach it to something. Do some weird guerrilla marketing with it. Put out a bunch of posters, random places. I think that would be cooler than this because it just feels, again, one note and not a good note.
I also think that weirdly, even though his Twitter was one thing the same day every day for 2 years, I feel like his Twitter's gotten worse since he went to AEW. Because all of a sudden he does the, it's, you know what that means. And then on Wednesday he comes out and he goes, now you know what that means. And you're like, did you know what that means? Because that doesn't sound like the right thing. And then now his whole thing is he goes back with Evil Uno, where Evil Uno has to say, hey, Brody Lee, it's whatever day, you know what that means. And then he's like, thanks, Evil Uno, I know what that means. And you're like, this has gotten stupid. Like, before it was all like, this is, like, I guess kind of silly, but throwaway. Now I don't like his back and forth with Evil Uno. I don't.
Yeah. No, it's...
Like you said, he could be using it so much better. He could be like, now that you know what this means, let me teach you what this means. And being a preacher type and putting out videos of him in like a black mirror coat, you know what I mean? Like, you could do some cool stuff with that, but I didn't like it. I wasn't a big fan of his match.
Yes, he was... When Luke Harper was in matches, he's agile. You can see the agility in him. This, I don't know, maybe there's some ring rust. I don't know what it was. But you could see the agility, but it also felt really slow. It felt like an old wrestler who could do stuff, trying to do it, but not able to do the in-betweens.
Yeah, it felt weird.
Like, it felt very spotty.
Yeah.
So I wasn't a huge fan of the match. I didn't like Cody on commentary during this match. Trying so hard to put QT Marshall over. It was just like, just shut up.
I don't know if I was QT Marshall, I don't know that I would have been cool with him saying, look at QT, he got the head plug surgery. So
yeah.
Like, what? I think if I was QT, I'd say, leave that out of it for now. It's fine. I'm not saying don't... I feel like when the people who get those surgeries, you get it, your hair fills in, and then you go back and say, look what it was right when I got it, and now look where I am now. Like, you just really called him out in a kind of a delicate time frame where I was like, I don't know that that's great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe, I don't know. I just felt like I would have been like, dude, what the fuck? You know?
Fuck you, Cody.
Yeah, a little extra today, huh? Like...
First you're going to put me in a match where you're going to feed me to someone again. And then you're talking about my goddamn hair surgery, which I'm insecure about, which is why I got it. Fuck you.
Yeah, I didn't get it because I love the idea of how this is looking.
Yeah, because I really didn't like where it was, bastard.
Yeah, dick.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Look at you, Clump, putting on some weight. Fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought his commentary was back and forth too. There was definitely times where I thought, I don't know if Cody's the best spot for this or not, but I didn't like Brody Lee's gear from last week or this week. Like, what the fuck is this, man? What is he wearing?
I was listening to a podcast where you were talking about it, and somebody said his gear reminded them of the podcast Welcome to Night Vale, and I was like, yes.
I don't think I know Welcome to Nightingale.
Or Night Vale. It's like every episode's the story of this weird town that's like the summation of cryptids and conspiracy theories and stuff, and it's like an NPR station for that town, so it'll be things like from this time to this time, the sacrifice will be in the park. It's just really weirdly done, but it like his gear looks like somebody from Night Vale.
Wow.
So it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, cool. And the week before, I thought people were saying that he took Midian's gear. It had that weird eye thing on it. Yeah, I thought it was also funny. I saw AEW fans saying like all of us AEW fans last, 6 months ago, give Brody a chance and he should be top of the card. And then it's like all the AEW fans this week being like, well, maybe WWE had it right. Like. He definitely did not shine.
Another weak thing to me about ring gear for him, and this is something I just always find weird. When you're a big dude and you're wearing like tank top and loose fitting pants.
Yeah.
It just looks weird. Like it didn't look good on Kevin Nash. It didn't look good on Undertaker. It didn't look good on Luke Gallows. It doesn't look good here. Wear something where your boots are tucked in.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah.
Or if you're gonna be like this like person who's in suits, and he even had a Vince ass suit on.
Yeah.
Like that was the thing. I was like, oh, it's a Vince suit. Wear a suit. It'd be cool if he came out in like a preacher suit.
Yeah.
And then he like took it off and he looked like Triple H, and Triple H used to get his ass kicked when he was in Evolution.
Yeah.
Wear a suit. That would be cool as hell.
Yeah, it looked great, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't like any of that stuff. I was really disappointed because last week I was all like, okay, there's a couple things he said here and there that I wasn't like the biggest fan of, but it played to the audience and whatever. But you know, he's gonna do some cool stuff.
Yeah.
And then this week came out and I was like, okay, I'm done. He can stop. He can just stop. Full stop.
Yeah.
Just cut it.
I was hoping that you're not the first old man to mock him or not take me seriously. It was going to be the only Vince talk we were going to have, but
Yeah, the out of touch
Look
old
at
man
us
thing.
now.
Yeah, I was like, all right. Yeah, me too. That was the one line too where I was like, all right, I could have done without that, but you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I wasn't even gonna hold that against him. I wasn't even like gonna be like, oh, this motherfucker keeps stop bringing up the competition. Like, I do think this product brings it up too much. Even when Cody was commentating, someone threw someone into the railing and says these are bike racks, not foam padding. I was like, all right.
that's not something I necessarily support.
Yeah, it's
be
also
better if
like,
you-
so you're saying it's more dangerous for the people you're trying to take care of? Like,
In this time of us being a little bit focused on safety, maybe have foam padding.
yeah. Maybe foam padding's not a horrible idea, pal.
Yeah.
What'd you think of Omega and Guevara? I wasn't impressed, man.
Me either.
I think those guys need the crowd. I think both of those guys need the crowd.
Yes. No, I think they're both people who use spots to feed off of crowd. And I think here they both needed to just focus on each other. Like when Sammy would showboat, I was like, okay, that's neat for like it didn't land well. Like I understand, yeah, there's people watching it at home, but
Yeah.
eh.
Which is funny. I think that's one of the things where I thought AEW would excel more at than they are, is I think they're putting in people in matches who, for whatever reason, desperately need their crowd. But I guess when you're a niche kind of show, because right now they're showing that they are the thing that people like, if they're the people who like that kind of thing, where with WWE, you had like legitimately, I mean, looking at guys like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, and I mean, even on the women's roster, Becky Lynch and Bayley, Daniel Bryan, Drew Gulak. Here's people who came up for 10 plus years in the indies, literally performing for 4 people or less at times, where right now these guys are all getting to the indies when they're going on to shows with, 100 people at a time, and they're feeding off the crowd. And I thought that AEW was going to do a better job of how do you have a match where your focus isn't the audience. And I think WWE is actually doing a better job of putting in the people who have that literal experience. Hey, Daniel Bryan, you've performed in front of absolutely nobody. Can you go out there and do that with someone else who's done that so you guys can show how a match gets done when you don't have to think about the crowd? Because there's a whole other thing there, right? Matter of fact, Becky was saying on the Sam podcast too, when she did an interview, that she's literally performed in front of 7 people. And she goes, and sometimes it's worse to perform and you'd almost rather it would be nobody. She goes, because you can hear everything they say. He's like, and she's like, and when there's 7 people, they're not always saying nice things, but you can hear every word of it. And so there's a certain aspect of, like you said, you have to focus on your opponent. You don't focus on the audience. And here's people who half of their gimmick is playing into the audience and saying, you guys are my everything and I'm feeding into you. I thought that I honestly felt that AEW was going to do a much better job at putting in people in the ring who didn't need an audience, and I feel like that they're actually a little bit exposed about the people who maybe at one time didn't, but now do. So maybe next week they'll do better.
Yeah. It's a learning thing. I think last week was kind of a weird gimme because they had a lot of pops. Like, oh shit, people.
Yeah,
This week it showed, okay, well, we got to work on our fundamentals still.
that's true. Hey, look who's popped in. Kevlar's popped in.
Woo!
Kevlar, boo. How you doing, Kevlar? We were just talking about all the things we don't like about Kenny Omega.
Just making Eric feel bad. That's what we do.
Yeah. Cheers. Yeah, defend this shit, Clump.
Oh.
But again, weirdly, I liked their show last week a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I guess that brings us to the end of that show. And then the other shows we can go through a little bit quicker as well. But Matt Hardy and Chris Jericho and Vanguard 1, what'd you think of this segment, man?
Yikes.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm excited to see Matt Hardy. I think Matt Hardy's weird. I don't think Jericho's putting it over in a way that I think would be really funny. I think Jericho's kind of, in a sense, it feels like he's going into business for himself by just not acknowledging the weirdness of it.
I think Jericho's feeding into it in such a way that it's more about Jericho being concerned about himself and not about the angle. I felt like you had two people coming in here about trying to figure out how to put themselves over and not the story at all. But I think even worse is you had Jericho feeding into the ridiculousness of Matt Hardy, and I think that there should be a conflict there, right? Matt Hardy comes in and says, "I'm Magic," and Jericho does the improv shit of, "Oh, you're Magic. Okay. Yeah, I'm 100% behind that. I believe you're Magic, and I'm going to talk to you like you're Magic now." As opposed to someone being
what
like,
the fuck is this?
Yeah, as opposed to a fighter surprised to see someone he used to know act really fucking weird. This isn't the Matt Hardy that I've always known. What do you mean you're Magic? You never would have said that before. What the fuck is wrong with you? Are you high? You know what I mean? Like, he could have taken it in a heel route and had there be a conflict there. I felt embarrassed watching this, and I felt that I would feel embarrassed to tell someone, "Oh, do you want to see what Chris Jericho and Matt Hardy are doing nowadays?" For the guys who I work with who love Jericho and Matt Hardy, and we talk about their heydays all the time, because these are the guys they remember. When I say, "Oh yeah, these guys are still at it," when I even told them, I was like, "Oh, Jeff Hardy's back on SmackDown. He just had a match the other night." They're like, "Oh my god, are you kidding me? I have to see this. I love that guy." If I were to say, "Hey, check out what Matt Hardy's doing now with Chris Jericho," and I showed them this, I would feel embarrassed to be around them as they watched it.
I feel it's really what we need to acknowledge is, in that sense, this is a rewrite every time Matt Hardy goes to a new promotion, and they kind of need to do that. I feel like Chris Jericho, the way he jumped into it by acknowledging it and not, I think Chris Jericho needed to look dumb. He's a heel. He needed to look dumb, but he looked dumb in the worst way.
Yeah.
I think what he needed to do was be like, what the hell is this? Like you said, like, no, this is stupid. Just like not like acting like he's no selling and being confused and upset by it, and like, what the literally, what the fuck are you talking about, Matt?
Yeah, Matt Hardy should be making him a believer, and they shouldn't be just along for the ride together. Make him a believer.
Yes.
Force him to believe. Do some crazy shit. The teleportation spot, dude. I couldn't handle it. Yeah. I was like, "You're out of your fucking mind." It was a horrible cut job. As it happened, producer goes, "What is this part directed by Darby Allin?"
Sorry.
No. Had color. It's a junior year effort.
Yeah. And apparently, I didn't read this, but I heard it on a podcast that seems like a relatively reasonable source, that they had reshot it. That they had filmed it before, and Chris Jericho said, "There's absolutely no way I'm going to be a part of that." And they reshot it during the Darby match, which was filmed the week before. They actually were back in there reshooting the teleportation scene to be more believable. And then Tony Schiavone being like, what am I dreaming? He's literally teleporting. I was like, come on. Here's the thing that gets me the most about it. For one, I thought it was horrible to watch. But what makes it worse to me is the amount of AEW fans who were talking about how this was such an amazing segment, how this was so good. But if this happened in WWE, they would have shit all over it. Matter of fact, Jericho was trying to put over Vanguard 1 as a legitimate entity. Trying to offer him robot cigars and robot whores and robot champagne to get him to join the inner circle because the drone was an entity in which he could be talked to like a human. But that same group of people, when they saw what appeared to be an enormous spider that moved slightly robotically, they shit all over the idea that WWE would ever present an enormous spider as a terrifying thing, be it robotic or not. This was literally a robot being put over as a robot, and that was a giant spider that they were trying to put over as a pet. And maybe using a robot was the safest way to do that. And you're going to tell me you cannot just suspend disbelief for enormous spider, which may be robot, but you can absolutely suspend disbelief for this man is magic, teleports, and has robot that has its own individual thought process. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's, I think, the part that made me frustrated watching it. Because I was all like, fuck you guys, dude. Be one or the other. This same group of people should have been like, that enormous spider was fucking insane. You know what I mean? If you can suspend it for one, not the other, I don't get it.
Producer here.
Yeah.
I was confused because it sounded like something that a kid wouldn't even suspend disbelief. Like if I was a kid, you could say I'm a magician, I do magic, but to say I am magic is kind of already a strange statement to me.
That's a little true.
Because I'm thinking, okay, well then you would say, oh, I'm a wizard or I'm a whatever. But it's just an odd statement to me. Like if I was a kid, I wouldn't believe it myself. Like I don't know, I couldn't get into it.
Well, to me, and when I've watched some of the old broken stuff from Impact, what got it was Matt Hardy being the only person selling into this, and it being so fucking outlandish. But it was Matt Hardy going all in, and he's doing that here. He's never stopped, and I don't fault him. What I fault is in Impact, they let him write it all. And I don't know if that's the case here or in WWE, but also it's the other people working with him. When he got it over, it was him with Jeff, and Jeff's character, and a lot of people were like, what the fuck? It was the, what is this shit kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
What are you talking about, Matt? Why are you doing this? And it was, the creation of Brother Nero wasn't Jeff willingly being like, oh yeah, I'm going to jump into this. It was Jeff being forced into it. That works when you do it in this way with Matt Hardy being, kind of pandered to. I don't know. Like, I can get the Young Bucks being like, oh, yeah, he's crazy, and accepting it because they're on his team.
Yeah.
And they've worked with him in the past before. But Jericho hasn't. So Jericho's character is better served being
cynical,
confused, confused, cynical, being like, this is stupid, what is this? Not buying into, not playing into stuff,
Yeah, you stupid idiot. Like, all that shit. Where, I agree. Here's two guys who have legendary careers behind them and who are still regaled by most as being potentially in the conversation for best of their lifetime. And here they are doing shit that came off so childish and embarrassing that it sucked to be. It sucked that it was them even. I mean, I feel like the fact it was them made it worse to me. You know what I mean? Because,
yes.
I expect more out of them in a sense. And I feel like they know better, and I feel like they could have done better, and maybe they were under the gun. Maybe I don't know.
I feel like maybe another part of this too that when I watched it that came to my mind was last week when Jericho saw Hardy. It wasn't like a shock; it was like a what the hell kind of look in his eyes.
Oh yeah, and his eyes were like bloodshot, which was crazy. Yeah,
but he didn't look shocked. He looked like, what? And that, I think, would have been like, that was like, okay, that makes sense to me. Like, I know you. I'm not shocked to see you. What the hell are you doing? And that
Yeah.
could have been what's happening here. I really I feel like what this could have been and been so much better was more, what the hell is this? What are you doing? Where's Matt? Come on, dude, quit being an idiot. What is this? And not acknowledging it, and then having Matt Hardy be the only one selling and forcing Jericho to, be victim to his weirdness, or
Yeah.
have it be stuff that you're like, that's stupid, but it's now being sold because he's forced to sell it.
Yeah.
But have him forced to sell it, not immediately acknowledging it like it's the gospel.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I tuned in at that day live to I think it was right when Kenny Omega was coming out, and I was like, oh, good. I don't like him, it's fine. But right after that comes this whole segment. This segment left such a bad taste in my mouth that I did not go back and watch AEW till yesterday. Because I just did not want to sit through. I was like, if that was how they closed it, if that was their headline, if that was this is what you should remember, I was like, then what the fuck else did they do that I'm even going to even remotely be able to entertain in my mind?
Yeah.
So I had a hard time. I don't know. Like I said, I think that. Man, I thought it was remarkably bad, and I think the people who are forgiving of it are not being fair. I just flat out, you're not being fair to yourself as a viewer, even to tell them to keep doing this. You know what I mean? Like, as a viewer, you should want better and more than that. Like, the fact that so many of the AEW fans came out and were saying this was incredible, you two of the best at their best, doing the best work ever. If that's what you tell them, they will make more of this. You know what I mean? Like, you should have a fan base have said, hey guys, the fuck was that? Kind of expected something entirely better. Better luck next time. Can we pretend this was at Super Showdown? You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Let's pretend this never happened. But
let's rewrite.
Yeah.
Are we sure there aren't people that genuinely love this?
Children, yes, probably.
Okay. All right.
I think the 14, because they always talk about how they got the coveted 14 to 49 age group. I think that's more realistic than the 14 to 16. I think there's not a shitload of 22 to 49 tuning in so much as there's a whole lot of that 14-year-old who really fucking digs this.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just my feeling, man. I don't know. I don't have inside information. I'm not a fucking guru. I don't know Nelson.
Yeah. What kind of idiot 27-year-old would like that?
Kevlar says children don't. Expand on that, Kevlar.
Yeah, what's up with that, Kevin?
Do you want to see what happens if he calls in?
Kevlar.
Do you want to see if that would just ruin the whole fucking show?
Well, we don't know that he's available to do that too.
I mean, it's true. We don't.
So.
All right, we won't.
If you were on the show, let me go poop first.
What? Don't.
If you're going to ruin the show, let me go poop.
No, but
I'll take a break.
You can only poop if we know the show's been destroyed.
Yeah.
So you're saying have Kevlar call in so you can take a poop, and then when you're done pooping, he leaves?
Yeah, I'll be back by 9.
That's untrue.
See you next week.
Yeah. I gotta poop, guys. I'm done for the day.
Did Kevlar watch any of it? Do we know any of that?
I don't think he watched AEW, but...
All right.
But I don't know. That was my take on that, I guess. I mean, it sounds like you weren't too far off. What do you, like... I don't know. They couldn't have done it with a crowd there, so it also makes you wonder what were their plans if they refilmed it and all that.
I feel like if they had a crowd, they'd get the reaction they want. Because fans would pop like crazy for it because, you have the smarkiest fans who, they're like, oh yeah, we love this, and I get that, but I feel like that doesn't sell it to the new people, and I feel like this, this is an example of reintroduction to me.
Yeah.
I think they did a good reintroduction or an introduction for Brody Elite. We got to see more of it, but they built it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need to build this up. You need to build this in and sell it, because if you're not familiar with it, if you've not seen Matt Hardy before. Why should we believe he's this?
This is true. That's true. Yeah, I don't know. I was expecting to like it way more. I was excited to see a broken Matt Hardy in AEW. I think we all thought it was obvious. I thought it'd be a good thing. But this is one of those times where I think about it and I go, I wonder if Matt Hardy and Jericho and Brody and if some of these guys who've got some clout because they've been to the top at the other place, which I don't think Brody's got that level of clout, but I think if they're given the idea of like, oh, you've been doing this for so long at such a high level, you can do whatever you want, unfiltered.
Yeah.
I think that that's a problem. I think one of the geniuses of Vince is telling people no. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Producer here, so Matt Hardy did tweet earlier today. He said, and it actually was that snippet between him and Jericho.
Yeah.
He posted a clip and he said, if you love this face-off like most, thanks. If it wasn't your thing, that's okay too. Even though pro wrestling is currently handicapped, I'm proud of AEW, for trying their best to make the world smile and escape through these tough uncertain times.
Yeah.
So
Matt Hardy tweeted that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was it, like a few hours ago.
Well, way to sell your gimmick. See, that pisses me off.
2,000 people like that.
Yeah.
That was it. So
Going out there and bowing to people. Thank you very much. I am Matthew Hardy. I hope you enjoyed my performance today as the broken version of a similar self.
I'd be cool with that. I'd be be like, oh, I'm Matthew something Hardy, the first, the one. And I thank you so much for liking what I'm doing at AEW. In this time of great handicap within wrestling, I appreciate the fans giving their love and support. So I would like that more than, hey, I'm Matt Hardy, thank you, AEW is doing this, because it's just so goddamn plain.
That's true too, and I think that it's weird that these people are saying, congratulations to AEW for accomplishing this thing or putting on this show, but the same people are going to be are saying things like, yep, WWE just doesn't know, they should just quit, and you're like, you either appreciate that both these companies are doing a shitload of stuff right now, or you're kind of a dick for only appreciating one of them.
Yeah.
Where do we stand?
Where do we stand?
Yeah. Because people could be like, well, you're just shooting all over it.
I'm shitting over that segment for sure. I thought that segment was a horrible thing. But I think the fact that they're still putting on whatever show they can right now is great. Awesome.
You can do better.
I think that's the sentiment, is you can do better than this, guys. You know what I mean? It's not that like, hey, you guys should just close up shop and come back whenever. You guys can't do this without an audience. It's not that. It's, wow, you guys did that? The two of you guys put that together? Like, I expected more, and I think you guys can do better. And I hope next week you guys do better. Which would in turn be this week, so tomorrow. So we'll see.
Put on a beginner class and you were expecting expert.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we move on to SmackDown, what do you think about them AEW announcing a TNT title?
I'm cool with it. I think it's a cool idea. I think they need a mid card title. Desperately.
I think the only thing that annoys me about it is the amount of times that they were asked if they're going to put out like a mid card title or a TV title type thing, and the amount of times that both the Bucks and Cody said no, we're not doing anything like that. Like they said it a number of times, and I'm like, guys, like that's the only thing that annoys me about it is just this feeling of dishonesty for different sake, you know. We're different than them, so we'll never do that. And then do that, and like, well, what's this? I'm like, well, for us, it'll work. And to be honest, I thought before they did like a TV title, because they have such a small roster and they do very little in their TV shows, segment by segment, as far as the whole roster goes, I thought they were going to do an AEW Dark title. You know what I mean? Like, put on some black plates, make like a gold dark in the middle. Like, I thought they were going to do a dark title that was something that was defended on their YouTube show, which I thought would be cool. It made the most sense to me, but
yeah, that makes more sense to me. Yeah, but c'est la vie. No, I think it's a good idea to have a middle card title. I think they have the roster for it. But then the other thing, and this is an AEW thing that was a WWE thing. We're seeing the same people every week.
Yep.
By putting in this title, you're saying, okay, well, we got to either give this title one of the people we're seeing every week, or we got to get more people in. And there's a lot of people we're not seeing. I think it's a good challenge to put more people out there. Like that was I think my biggest criticism, and I told you when we had the same roster across both shows. It's cool. We're seeing the same 10 people every show twice a week doing the same shit, and we're recapping it on the shows over and over again, and we're not seeing people like Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
You need to split somewhere. We need to see more people come up because they have a lot of people. I mean, how is your roster going to get better on TV without being on TV?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's what the Dark was for, was to get those people there. And that's why I thought, they'll have a Dark title eventually, and people on Dark will be fighting for this title. And it could even be an intergender title. You know what I mean? That wouldn't have bothered me either. Anyone can go for it. It's on Dark.
Yeah.
And then I would think that it would be even cool if from time to time the Dark title showed up on the actual television show. But to have a TNT title, I'm like, well, I don't know what you're going to do with that apart from throw it on somebody in Inner Circle so you can say the Inner Circle has a title again.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it feels like to me. Because I don't imagine they're going to put it on anybody in the Elite. I don't imagine they're going to throw it on somebody who's just floating about, to be honest. Like, what are they going to give it to Shawn Spears? He's on the hunt for a tag partner. I don't know what the fuck that is. But I do think it's cool they're having an extra title. I'm excited to see the design of it. I like titles, but I don't think I understand its purpose on the grand scheme. Yeah,
I agree with that.
Let's talk about SmackDown and then Raw, and we'll get into WrestleMania off of that.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of were already talking about it. We had Bayley and Sasha come out and do their promo. I think they're doing an awesome job, the two of them. I think Bayley's hit her stride, honestly.
Yeah, no, I think Bayley in particular, but Bayley and Sasha are the two superstars of this weird moment in time, so to speak.
Yeah.
They're the people who they are embracing the weirdness, making jokes of the weirdness, but doing it in a clever, smart way. I think they're doing fantastic.
100%. I think they're doing a really good job. I think they're coming off Supernatural, where there was a long time there with Bayley, even as a huge Bayley fan, there was a lot of times where she'd cut promos and I go, well, you did good. You did the best you could, you know? Where this feels like, okay, yeah, she's probably teaching people how to do what she does. You know what I mean? Like, she's doing great. Oh, on a side note, only semi-side note, Mandy Rose was on After the Bell this week with Corey Graves. And he did his rapid-fire questions at the end of the interview like he always does. And one of his rapid-fire questions was, name a superstar in the locker room you look up to. And she said Bayley, like, real fast.
Yeah.
So that's just cool to hear, too, that she's somebody in the back that's inspiring people and you know, someone worth looking up to, you know?
Yeah.
Knowing the Four Horsemen story like we know it, it's really cool to hear when other people shout them out that way of, like, saying, yeah, they definitely got us here and we definitely look up to them. Really cool.
Yeah. It does feel like how do you feel about the six-pack challenge?
For the SmackDown title?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's forced.
Yeah, I mean,
six-pack. It's 5-pack now, but...
It's 5 now, yeah.
It's 5 now, but yeah, the SmackDown title.
Then take Tamina out of it.
But I don't know why we have the other people in it anyways. It's forced either way.
Naomi got a fairly decent push. Lacey has always been competitive. I could get that. Tamina's just such an out of the blue, like, what did you do to get here?
It's a fucking bug. Swimming around in my drink and then just gets out and leaves like, well, I've had enough to drink. I'll go chill over here and be drunk.
Yeah. We have covers.
But,
you still want to put a cover on, I guess.
Sorry, I had a fucking bug in my drink.
You're good.
It's being a dick.
There are lids.
Where are the lids? Where's the lids?
It's not there?
I don't see a lid over here.
Oh, okay. Let me go find one. Let me find one.
I need a lid!
But you get what I'm saying, though, right?
I'm sorry.
Like,
Are you talking about
like
lids?
Tamina? A little bit.
You're saying take out Tamina because Naomi, Lacey, and Sasha have all had title shots recently?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like they deserve to be jumping in there again, but it feels so out of the blue to have Tamina in it. Tamina's not felt like an established powerhouse to me. Like they keep trying to push her, but it doesn't like it's not like the Big Show where there's been wind there and like, oh shit, yeah, they have done things or they look scary as hell.
She's not as imposing of a presence as you would expect.
Yes. The only person that they've done that to where they have a presence and a powerhouse persona is Nia Jax, and Nia Jax is still out.
Thank God.
I'm not saying she needs to be in it long, but you get what I mean. Like, at least she's held titles. At least she's looked scary and done things. I mean, she's...
That's true. I would really like to see... I'd really like to see a good Tamina story.
Yeah.
I think that would be great. The thing is, the problem is every time I think that they really need to give Tamina more time, she ends up in a match where she really fucks up a bunch. Yeah. And I go, oh, she's not clean in the ring. Yeah. Like, she might be someone people don't want to work with a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like when she was at the Usos like partying, she talked to us, oh, that's kind of cool. I'd like to see her do stuff.
Yeah.
But no, and I think part of it is, and I'm not knocking her, I think there's a mobility thing. And I'm not saying that like a size thing. I'm not saying that like a build thing. I mean, I think because of where, like how much she's done, like she's worked with the WWE for so long, you can see difficulty in her movements.
You know what I think it is? I think what it comes down to is that she's been so pressured to be a snooker that they haven't really allowed her to lean into how she should perform. They asked her to perform like her father, and her father was a fucking anomaly. Mm-hmm. He was an absolute wild man who could move insanity, and she's not. And I think that instead of letting her develop her own style, it was very much how close can you get to your father's style?
It's the same thing they did in the sense too. When Sim Snuka was Sim Snuka, her brother, mm-hmm. they did the same thing to him. And they're both bigger than Jimmy Snuka by a lot. Sim was 6'4", and Tamina's an inch taller than Snuka.
Wow.
So,
yeah, no.
And she's never been able to do the jumps and stuff. So, you're setting her up for failure when you say, do the frog splash or do the jump that Snuka did. She can't.
Just can't.
So when she does it and it looks like shit, I don't blame her. I blame whoever booked the damn match and whoever said, "Hey, you know what you are? You're a Snuka." Yeah, Roman Reigns and Matt Noy are the same from the same family, but Roman Reigns performs a shitload different. Same with the Usos. They don't perform like Rikishi.
Not at all. What were you going to say, producer?
So producer here, having not grown up with TV and like I don't have a background of watching her for decades before. So to me, when I first saw her, I actually thought that her look was pretty good. Like I thought, oh man, she looks like a badass. Like I liked her look a lot. Mm-hmm. And it was only until I saw her do stuff in the ring that I was like, why is she doing that? Like it doesn't match her look. Because her look tells me like, oh, she's like psychological, or she could like be bossing other people around to do the dirty work. Like that's kind of what I was expecting when I saw her.
She should have an Haku style, not a Snuka style.
Yes. Yeah, it's like
use much more.
I'll use Big Show. I'll go say Big Show again. It's like if you made Big Show try and do the moveset of Rey Mysterio.
Oh.
Like.
Or even if you tried to make Big Show perform exactly like Andre, it still wouldn't click. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they have to be able to branch out. Natalia does not perform like Jim Neidhart. She just does not. She performs closer to a Brett. But you have to allow them to figure out where do they live. And I think that Tamina has always been, you are a Snuka. And I think that that's always held her back because, for one, she can't be Jimmy Snuka. And when you push it that much, I mean, Charlotte doesn't perform like Rick.
Not at all.
So, yeah, I think she goes out there trying too hard to be a Snuka, and I don't know if that's her doing or they're doing, but either way, it's got to stop doing. Because she's got a chance, I think, to be something else. They gave her new music, so maybe it's new Tamina.
I like.
Yeah. The other thing, too, when she was in the ring is I noticed a lot of limping.
Yeah.
Like, she looked like... She was walking a lot like Big Show was before his hip surgery, or like Mick Foley did.
Yeah.
And she's significantly older than a lot of people think too. She's 43.
Yeah.
So, I question if you're gonna have her do that moveset, but really, maybe she might need to get some work done, or maybe she's coming back from a surgery or something like that. But having her, she needs to change out of what she's been doing, because this is, I think of it purely from a health standpoint.
Yeah,
it's not working. It looks bad, and it can't feel good to try and do that if you're limping around. Shit,
I could see her as the type of heel who always has a weapon, like sneaks a weapon or does something like that.
Yeah,
like I don't know, something that really helps her.
I could see that.
Yeah.
That'd be workable, I think. You know what I've always been surprised of, speaking of the weapons that someone always has? Sasha's never done much with those rings.
Oh, yeah.
And even as a heel, you'd think she'd come down to the rings and leave them on. You know what I mean? Or put on a legit boss ring and then fucking boom! She just never does.
Yeah. I think it'd be a cool, like, as a heel, like, pull out, use them as knucks,
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Plus, you can make brass knuckles now that look really close, and they're gimmicked,
Yeah.
Make them super safe,
And then plus, when you buy them, they're heavy. So you go, oh shit, well, these are legit. But then make her some fucking rubber ones or some shit. I don't know. Or just pull, or pull your punch. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's believable, Kind of talking about where we were before, Drew Gulak versus Shinsuke was an awesome match, because I think those are two people who can focus on their opponent and not on the audience.
Everyone in this match, everyone around the ring was fantastic.
Yeah.
I love this match. I loved Drew Gulak. I like the dynamic of Drew and Daniel Bryan, where, they're the faces here, but they're winning in ways that are kind of shitty. So it's a cool way of winning to me. It's neat to have ambiguous faces where they're not like the morally upright, baby face, and have it be like, there's a legitimate reason Sami Zayn's pissed off. That makes sense to me,
They're like sneaking a win, but in a technical way. It's really neat.
Mm-hmm.
It's really neat.
It makes me think of Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero was a face. He still snuck wins, but he was a face, and you could be like, that's awesome, because Sami and Shinsuke and Cesaro are playing such good heels. I don't care how they beat you. I want them to beat you.
Yeah, and I really like Sami on commentary. He's so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And to be honest, when it comes down to it, Daniel Bryan versus Sami is one of the matches I'm more excited for. That could steal the show, I think. I don't think it will steal the show, because I think that matches like Cena and Bray are going to be so big. But I think from a wrestling standpoint, from like a Macho Steamboat standpoint, I think you could get Sami, Daniel Bryan,
Yeah.
Let's see, you got Ziggler and Otis doing their thing, building their match. Alexa versus Asuka, surprisingly good.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest. I think Nikki on commentary was rough.
Yeah.
I didn't have to be.
I appreciate what you're trying to do there, but it was hard. Nikki's great running around the ring and being active, but I feel like she sells this character so goddamn well. But on a commentary role, the way that she's selling it doesn't come off like I think they want it to come off. It comes off grating. Yes. It comes off cringy. Like, ooh, okay. Like, it was like a Curb episode, you know, like you're like, oh, ooh,
Yeah.
Okay, this is a thing.
Yeah, Michael Cole was like laughing and putting his head down and shaking his head like, what the fuck? I think what this segment did for me was make me truly, truly miss the Twisted Sister of NXT, the Insanity Nikki Cross. Because this Nikki Cross is hard to stomach.
Yes.
And the Nikki Cross that we grew to love, that we wanted to see on the main roster, was fucking crazy. Even the first time we saw her on SmackDown, man, I showed that to people. Showed it to people we work with who never seen wrestling. Some of the girls who wouldn't even imagine watching wrestling. I showed them that segment where Nikki comes out and goes, "I'll play with you, Becky."
Play.
Yeah, let's play, Becky, play, and fucking goes nuts. Yeah. And here were these people we worked with who just looked at him and went, whoa, and they're like, I want to see more of this person. Are they legitimately insane? I'm like, yes. But
hell yeah.
You show them this segment and they're going to be like, this is ridiculous. This person's a child.
Hey, Kagura.
Yes.
Kagura made it all the way from Japan. Is that Bald Man Clump's house? Yeah. I mean, we had to make him decorate. I'm not going to lie. We got there and it was just the bunk beds. Obviously, bunk beds are for more room for activities. But the AEW title, the Marty Scroll mask, which we had him put up. Who's in the painting there?
That is fucking damn it.
That's a legend.
Kobashi, right?
Kobashi, yes.
And it's signed by Kobashi, so very nice.
I also have this, but it's too glary. Signed Lucha Brothers picture.
I bet you if you put it next to Marty, I bet you it would be okay. I think it was too glary because of where it was.
I like that it's Bald Man Clump.
Yeah, Bald Man Clump.
that's very accurate.
There's much worse things have been called.
Yeah, Clump went the full Howie Mandel route with this whole pandemic and thought, oh, body hair is a bad thing. And just got rid of it all.
No. I got a back mat. It's really hard to shave my back. So.
Okay.
Kagura's asking, do we have plans or already do Mania predictions? I know I didn't talk to you about this beforehand, but I was thinking we could get in predictions tonight.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you wanted, we could try to throw something together. It'd have to be one of the nights coming up. Maybe like... We couldn't even do it on Saturday. I work on Saturday, so we'd have to do it like Thursday night.
Yeah.
Would be the only other way. Now, the problem with it is I think that on Friday they're going to announce the Roman replacement.
Oh.
So we could do it Friday after SmackDown. I think we do it tonight if you're available. Are you free to stay online for a bit?
Yeah, dude. I'm here.
Yeah, I think we're going to do the predictions tonight once we get through SmackDown and Raw. We're almost there, really. And then for anything that comes up as a change, we could tweet it out. Kagura.
Cool idea. So I'm going to put in here another TV on Wall Far Side so that on Sunday when we're doing like a virtual watch along, I'll have something to watch it on.
Yeah. I don't think that we're going to stream the watch along though, Clump.
Yeah.
I think there's so much going on with it. I think that we're going to just do like a friend watch along. Like I think it's just you, me, and Gabe will be on FaceTime and I'll put out here in the front room and we'll just watch and because we can't actually gather.
Yeah.
I think that we'll just watch. Maybe we'll record it for the computer and we can always cut together reactions if we want.
I think that's good.
Yeah, but you have to understand I'm trying to like pitch this to someone who also lives here as like my cool idea for necessary reasons. So
yeah, we're gonna record it for the show, we'll say.
Yes, cool.
Yeah.
Don't fuck me on this guy.
Yeah. Kagura, if you don't follow us on Twitter, if you go give us a quick follow, then any changes we have in predictions we'll post up on Twitter. WOTR the show for the show. At Ref Marsh, at Crybaby Clump. Now that he's off of work for the most part, he tweets less than ever.
Right?
So
more time, less effort.
Yeah. Apart from that, I know Saturday I'll be working, so the beginning of the first day we won't be able to. Second day maybe. But we're gonna get into predictions after we get through SmackDown.
Oh yeah.
What do you think of the Firefly Funhouse segment?
I thought it was a really good segment. I liked it a lot. I thought the characteristics of, or the ingredients of his smoothie were awesome.
Yeah, so good, dude.
I really, really, really. If Bray doesn't win this, man, it's gonna be hard to watch wrestling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's gotta win this.
Like, yeah.
I think
give this to Cena, I'm gonna question a lot of things.
I think too that this is a match where they gotta put blood in it, even if it's Hollywood blood.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I think you do it in a great cinematic way, and I think you have Cena be bloody. I don't think you put down Cena without blood.
Can I throw a weird aside to you? How do you feel about when you're watching PG era stuff on the network and it has, or certain matches on the network, and when it has blood, they cut to black and white? Does that like jar the hell out of you? Because whenever it happens, it always just makes me kind of like, I get taken out of it and I kind of get frustrated. Like, I get why they're doing it, where they're going to black and white when somebody gets color. But with certain matches, it's such a critical part of the match, or, you know, and it seems so haphazard. They do it a lot with Cena matches.
If you go back and watch the original pay-per-view through the network, it's not like that. So it's the replays of it. And the reason I'm okay with that is because it makes you have to go get the network, right? The other thing is, if you go back and watch old territory stuff, when they would show stuff on TV, they would do similar things, blur it out, because this was too graphic. You couldn't see it. But if you went back and found the pay-per-view stream of it, then you're fine. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's just a way to kind of drive home that this was violent. You know what I mean?
Fair.
What do you think about them putting a match in the Firefly Funhouse?
I'm curious. I'm excited.
I'm so down the middle with it, dude. Like, I love the idea of it, but I'm also terrified because I remember hating the House of Horrors.
I like House of Horrors.
Did you like it?
Oh, no, not House of Horrors. Sorry, I was thinking of the Final Deletion.
No, I never saw the Final Deletion. I should watch that tonight.
Yeah, Matt Hardy's matches were weird and good. Yeah, House of Horrors sucked.
I hated it.
Yeah, if it's that, I'm gonna be upset. I think though that they've learned that, again, and this is maybe, so again, comparing Bray to Darby and to old Bray. Old Bray was much more one note, especially as it went on. There was less nuance to it. It was more like just this kind of it was a cult character, and there was no humor in it. There was just a cult character, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you got to the House of Horrors match, when you had the segments with the Shaq and Orton.
Yeah, that stuff was great.
They got worse. Yeah, well, they got worse and worse to me because they didn't have much humor in them. They were it was very, like, just simple and not nuanced. I think we've learned a lot and we can do more with it. I'm hopeful that learning has maintained, you know?
Yeah, I could see that. I hope so too. I really don't want it to be House of Horrors like. Let's see. Did you hear about the Firefly Funhouse though? It's not going to be just the Fiend. We haven't explored any form of spoilers. I don't know how many spoilers that are out there that are going to be legitimate anyways, because I think the people who are involved in it are pretty tight knit.
Yeah.
Not being just the Fiend, I think, is also something that I sort of expected. I think that we'll see the characters take a play, but I don't know in what way or how or any of that. And I think that we have a really cool opportunity to have a Hollywood-style WrestleMania. What was that, dude?
Yes.
Did you just shit your pants?
Oh, yeah.
Nice, dude. Well done, dude. Get it out.
Yeah.
On our trial video that we did, he totally farted, and his wife called him on it. And then I was like, "Tell her you're practicing for the show."
Oh, look, he's got a different look going. Oh, you can't see.
Not yet.
You can see on the stream though.
Yeah. Let's see. Supposedly the Fiend is going to struggle. I think that's a good idea. I think you make it a fucking fight. Cena brings the fucking fight. I think that's completely okay and expected and should be. I mean, we'll get into that in just a second because we're going to go through WrestleMania. But leading up to WrestleMania, we had Usos versus the New Day, ending in a schmaz and ending ultimately in a triple threat. It's going to be a ladder match, is that right? Triple threat was expected.
I think, it's going to be a ladder match.
It's going to be a ladder match for the title, and it's going to have all three of them in it. Which here's the bit that gets me.
Sorry, Clump did a poop emoji.
He should.
As his face.
Yeah.
He should. He's digital, man. I know that. So my stream of Clump looks awful. It says.
That's just always.
What are you talking about? Clump looks better than he's ever looked.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what's funny is the poop emoji, because of your shoulders being kind of wide, you're just a giant Dairy Queen poop. You know what I mean?
He has no neck.
Yeah, it measures out just right to where you go just from shoulders to poop.
The pig emoji and my skin tone are the same.
Yes.
It works too well.
They are identical for sure.
God damn, yeah.
Alright, this is fun.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the ears wiggle. I'm so happy right now.
Yes, the ears definitely wiggle. I like also the producers all like, okay, this is officially better than having Clump in real life.
Hey, I did not say that.
That's exactly what she said.
Not what I said.
Hell yeah, it
You
is.
don't have to hide it. It's true. I mean...
Hey, Clump, because you've been having the audio input the whole time, does producer sound a little bit better now than she did before?
I've not heard anything she said, so yes.
Great.
Kidding.
Did you hear the last thing she said?
No, everything's been good. Yeah, she's come out cleaner.
Cleaner? Because I changed the setting on the mic to have two-directional. Kagaro thinks producer needs more camera time.
God.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
We explored more camera time for producer, to which she said, "Go fuck yourself." So
I didn't say that. It's just it's my gimmick. Oh my god. This
Is there a part
dangerous.
into that?
no, I wish. Get it out. Why did him going? So when you went Memoji on it, when you went Bitmoji, it flipped. It flipped the camera.
Oh.
Oh.
Everything's on the reverse side of you.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. I bet you it's because of the face recognition. All right, so let's get through Raw, and we'll talk about what we think about WrestleMania and our predictions. It opened up with a segment with The Undertaker, leading into an Undertaker promo that was a longer style Undertaker promo than we've seen in a long time. I thought this was just flat out beautiful TV.
Yeah, I was... a long Undertaker promo is a scary thing to me because I think of Raw 25,
Yeah.
where he just went on and went on and went on, and then went at the end of it.
Yeah.
This is good. I liked him. I like how they're breaking the fourth wall. I liked him calling AJ Styles Alan Jones.
Yeah. Uncle Alan.
Biker Taker back.
Which is also a throwback too, right? Because Carl and Luke Gallows at different times have called him Alan and Uncle Alan and Alan Jones. So this was a little bit of a knock of where it's like, if we say this, people aren't going to not know what we're talking about. We've already planted that seed a long time ago.
Fans are smart.
Yeah.
No, I was super happy with it.
I thought it was great. I thought it was also more intense. Some people were saying that they thought it was a little bit more American Badass than we've seen in a long time, and I completely agree.
Yeah.
He was,
I think,
going in, man. I loved the fucking video package that was cutting in and out of his Instagram. Man, all of it was so good.
the only thing with American Badass Return, and I like it here, is I kind of want him to maintain it, and maybe I truly think that what Taker's last match should be, his last loss should be, is to Bray.
I kind of think so too. I think so too, and I think that sometimes I think I have to be wrong because someone else should put him down, but I think that Bray takes over as the face of fear. He was called the new face of fear for so long and didn't beat The Undertaker that maybe that's Bray's final his final thing. Maybe we lead all the way to WrestleMania next year where Bray the Fiend takes down The Undertaker and he brings up WrestleMania whatever it was, 32 or 33 where he just shit on him. And he says, this was, I wonder if he even, this was my final straw. This was the moment that I knew I could never live here while you lived here. You know what I mean? And then have him go in.
Good.
No.
One, I think also it could be a series of matches. I think it could be at Survivor Series or at SummerSlam, have it be that he beats Undertaker, and I want it to be The Undertaker talking about his losses and coming in and saying, well, I want it to, like, I truly think it'd be cool to have it be that stripping away what makes The Undertaker and have it be him loses as essentially Mark. Like, have it be The Undertaker at his least Undertakery, but also his most Undertakery, where it's, I'm going to go down, but I'm going to go down in a way where it's celebrating all of me and none of me, you know? Like, because to me, The Fiend is Bray and The Fiend. Have it be Undertaker as the dead man losing, but then have Undertaker as a form of him that's more akin to the person himself losing.
Which is like American Dead Badass.
Yeah, and it's always been, we've always heard that it's more what Mark Calloway is.
Yeah, so I could see that. I could see doing like a SummerSlam where Bray defeats the Badass. And then as they lead into WrestleMania, the Undertaker Deadman shows up and says, you know, this is the ultimate me. This is the Phenom. And you maybe took out the American Badass, but this is something else. You know what I mean? Like I could see that. Kaguro says,
Mark.
Yeah. Let's see. Have him just destroy Brock. Let's see. He's the American Deadman. Says John Cena versus Undertaker SummerSlam. You put the title on New Taker. Have him do a story where he wants Brock to show he can beat Brock and have him destroy Brock. I could see that. Build up The Undertaker again. And then have Bray take out The Undertaker.
Then we got 2 more years of Undertaker.
And by then he's got to be done.
Yeah, but in this scenario, and I like it, but also how long does Undertaker hold that belt for?
It's going to be like Lawler. Lawler still has belts somewhere.
Yeah, Lawler still has a ton of belts. I don't know. Maybe you just use the big four. Maybe you figured maybe at Rumble is where American Badass goes down, and maybe at WrestleMania that's when Deadman goes down, and maybe at Survivor or SummerSlam is where he beats Brock. Like he said, you know, put up Undertaker to take out Brock in SummerSlam. They lead over to, well, I guess you'd have Survivor Series in between, so you have Undertaker defend maybe twice on the way to Rumble. He loses to American Badass, loses it to Bray. And then at Mania, Bray takes down The Undertaker in the final, you don't get this back.
Yes. And then that establishes Bray. He holds the belt and he looks strong as hell. I like that. Okay, I'm cool with that. Yeah. I think that makes sense to me.
And I think an American Badass beating Brock would be dope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he takes the title as American Badass. He loses the title as American Badass, and then he's got one last fucking chance as the fucking Phenom, and he can't do it, and Bray puts him down in like a buried alive match.
And I think that makes sense to me too, because
you know what you do too with a buried alive match, which would be sick? You know how they always zoomed in on the tombstone and then you see the dirt move and it would move and it would move and then the hand would break 3? Mm-hmm. I want to see it move a little bit more, and then a little bit less, and then move a little bit less, and then stop moving, and the hand never comes out.
Yes. Or the hand tries to come out and it's stomped.
Yeah.
Like a boot on it. I think that'd be cool. I think the other reason I like the idea of the American Badass beating Brock is when Undertaker lost to Brock. I think part of that match not being great was it was kind of a weird styles clash. I want to see the American Badass because that's a brawler. That's something that has a bit more speed to him.
Yeah.
And it's less reliant on the slowness that is the Undertaker as the Dead Man, and that can be difficult to watch sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that's why they do with AJ. AJ could maybe get a good match, or can show that different style of Undertaker again, and show it be like, oh, cool, this is rapid and awesome.
Yeah. I think so too. I think it came out really good. I'm excited for this one. I thought the video package was awesome. I thought Undertaker did phenomenal. Let's see. Kuro saying SummerSlam going to be in Boston. Cena already made it clear he wants his record-breaking title shot before he retires. Let's see. After watching the Brock special, really appreciate him. That was the Ruthless Aggression is a special that's going on there. Yeah, but do you have Cena lose it in Boston? I think maybe. You could have Cena win it before and then have him lose it in Boston to American Badass and have Cena also retire on the way out. Maybe not. I don't know.
Do you think Cena's going to retire?
I think he will. I don't know when. I don't think it's this year.
Yeah. Or do you think he's going to go toward more like a Rock thing where he comes... He's already there. He comes in once in a while and performs occasionally.
Yeah, but I think Rock is so done. Rock doesn't ever talk about WWE, and I hope Cena never does that. Let's see. I like that they showed the WrestleMania match. I thought it was funny, too, that Becky was like, you know, oh, it wasn't that long ago I had this match. Matter of fact, let's take a look. And then just fucking plays the whole fucking match. So funny.
Yeah. That was a good... And I liked it. That was a good-ass match. And but it did feel weird. It reminded me of that kind of unended story of Becky beating Ronda, but, you know, that, like, question of it, like, wait, did you really, though?
Yeah, but at the same time, it got a really clear view of the ref being on the other side of Becky. The ref was in the wrong spot. So, it was one of those things where, did Becky really deserve to win it? And right after the win... Everyone was going, but that fucking pin. But now Becky's beat everybody on the fucking roster every single month. That it's really solidified her and cemented her as a legitimate, credible champion. Where before she had that win, it was a little bit questionable. Where I think now Ronda comes back at any moment. And it's you never beat me. Yeah, it's fucking ready. You have a Ronda story ready to go. And you have Becky being a credible, legitimate champion. And there's also, just watching the pin, no reason to believe that even if the ref restarted the count, she still wouldn't have won. You still have every reason to believe she still would have won, even if the count got restarted, because of how cinched in she had that crucifix pin.
Yeah.
But it does leave that shadow of a doubt for a story to be open. I think that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
I think Becky had an awesome promo. They got interrupted by Shayna being a bitch.
Yeah, that was the weakest part of that promo to me. With Shayna coming in, it didn't help out.
And it just shows Shayna being violent, which is good for the fight. The boos were deafening in my household when that happened. We were screaming a lot at the TV.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see. Alistair versus Jason Cade was what it was. Street Profits and Kevin Owens versus Seth Austin and Angel was what it was. What do you think of Andrade being out? They said he's been pulled out for a rib injury.
Yeah.
What's he been pulled out? Is it really a rib injury, or is it?
That's what.
Is he in isolation? Or?
That's what they reported. That's it.
It's what they're saying. I think it's probably a rib injury.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm cool with that. I mean, because and I think right now you have to be incredibly transparent, because if it's anything else, it's not going to look good. And if it's something like, say, he's in quarantine, well, what the fuck is Charlotte doing there?
That's a good point. Kogaro says it's 3 fractured ribs.
What the fuck did he do?
I don't know what he was doing. Probably some Marilyn Manson shit, if you ask me. What do you think about Austin Theory coming up?
I thought it was cool. He looked decent. I mean,
Yeah, I thought it was good, but I thought it was also weird. The amount of people I saw online and stuff being like, this is huge. This is enormous. Oh my God, he made it. And I was like, maybe he's just available.
Yeah.
Like, he was already in town. I don't know.
Well, who's not going to say, hey, do you want to be on, like, a WWE match?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you threw it out even to, like, someone in AEW, like, and said, hey, do you want to go through this one time? Imagine how this would look. I think everyone would be like, yeah, fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He looked good. I think they're not, and this is a good thing, they're not doing the weird squash matches. He looked good. If you said, hey, I'm going to put you in a match and you're going to look okay, fuck yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, for sure. Kagaru says no, it's official call-up. I say time will tell, and I kind of lean towards the I doubt it. Just to be honest, just watching him, I don't think that he's coming up right now. But what'd you think of that fucking spill that Montez Ford took?
Oh.
Yeah. I was like, that wasn't how that was supposed to go.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Right before WrestleMania.
Yeah, he just boom.
Oh. Like, I saw that, I was like, look at that, right? Because that didn't look like he caught any of it. And then they replayed it, but nope.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah. He just flat back, he just tailboned himself 8 feet off. Like, oh no.
Yeah, I think the thing that Austin messed up on the most was actually selling it. Because he went down without being anywhere near the guy, and I was like, he should have just walked off.
It would have been hilarious if, like, he landed and he just, like, paused, looked down, went, holy shit, and then looked up at the ring. Like, I would have loved if that were just, like, a pause, like, oh no.
Yeah. What? What do you think of Edge's promo?
I thought it was a great promo. I think Edge has been amazing in this. And I don't know, I mean, he was great with the crowd, but he's been amazing these outside of it promos. He's looked desperate. He's looked angry. He's looked good.
What do you think of Kevin Owens promo?
I liked it. I think Kevin Owens can't cut a bad promo to me.
I think so too.
Good.
My thing is, I felt like the Edge and Owens promo, to me, I put them in the same basket because both promos to me felt a minute and a half too long, and neither promo moved the story or made me any more invested than I already was. I was already invested. That's not to say that they didn't have me already, but it felt like a flatline promo. It felt like
unnecessary.
Yeah, I could have, whether it was there or not, it felt static. And I feel like those two dudes are better than static. I felt like each promo should have provided something. Some reason, some insight, some change of match, a little something, a little flair in that promo to go, oh, this was a necessary promo to have, where both promos to me felt like, oh, it's just a reminder that the match is this weekend.
I will say, I felt that we saw a lot of Edge in this, and I was thinking, when he came out, I was like, where's Randy? Because Randy's no slouch. I kind of, like, to me, it's been like, I haven't seen as much Randy, it seems.
They've been on the every other week. Last week it was Randy, the week before it was Edge, the week before it was Randy, the week before it was Edge.
Okay.
So they've been kind of like every other week.
I just have shit memory, I guess.
No, like you said, I think they both did a really good job. I felt like they were both slightly more wordy than they had to be without delivering new content. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But they're awesome. You give them a mic and everything's good. Asuka defeated Kaden Carter. And then they showed the Survivor Series match with Brock Lesnar. And then Paul Heyman came out and cut that fucking killer promo. Dude, and I think this was one more... Not only was his promo so good, but it reminded you so much about how Drew doesn't have to win this. Secondly, it also super solidified that I don't want Drew to win this.
Yeah.
I super don't want Drew to win this. The fact that Drew has not showed up since an audience was there is every reason to me to say, no, you don't get the title.
Yeah, I mean, it speaks to last year when we came to WrestleMania in the same boat. Lesnar had the title. Lesnar wasn't on TV a lot. Lesnar's a part-timer.
Yeah.
God damn, did you want that belt off Lesnar?
So bad.
But this year, they've done so much to make Lesnar a diversified, more interesting performer, and Heyman has done so much. Before it was like, damn, Heyman's good. The only reason I didn't want Lesnar to lose the title, and it wasn't enough to make me not want Lesnar to lose the title, was Heyman's good. But now, okay, Brock doesn't talk a lot, but Brock is goddamn good. I like Brock. Brock is a diverse, interesting performer who does awesome matches, and he does a lot of different awesome matches, you know? Whereas before, I was kind of in the middle about it. I was ambivalent. I don't necessarily want Drew to win it, because Drew also has been such a flat performer as this face. I don't really care about him winning it, you know?
Yeah. He's come off so entitled, and I've just got no interest. I even said so on Twitter. Someone was all like, oh, does Drew deserve to win it with an audience, or should they wait and have an audience? How should Drew win it? And I said, quite frankly, the character's come off so entitled to me and literally murdered a beloved pet with unprovoked that at this point, I do not care if he ever wins the title. And I got some fucking backlash. Yeah. But none of the backlash said that he deserved the title. None of the backlash said that I was wrong. Every single comment that was made at that point was, well, he's been booked so strong. Well, the crowd cheers for him. And it was all like, yes, those things are true. But that doesn't mean he doesn't come off entitled. And that doesn't mean he didn't murder a pet unprovoked. And that doesn't mean that he's working harder than anybody else. Like, nothing you said was anything other than he's been booked strong.
Sorry, producer. It's like when we went to Royal Rumble last year, and you asked people who you want to win the belt, and they were like, well, I guess Seth.
Yeah, we were asking. So before the Rumble, it was, they said, well, obviously it has to be Seth. I said, why does it have to be Seth? And they said, well, who else? And I was like,
it was just a default.
Yeah, I was like, well, I guess. And I was like, I probably, personally at the time, I said I probably put it on Ambrose.
Oh, yeah.
And I was all like, but apart from that, I guess I see what you mean. Like, who else? But that doesn't have the same the same feeling as when, say, Stone Cold won it, and you thought, well, Vince will never give Stone Cold the shot storyline, so Stone Cold has to win it. And of course he cheats Bret Hart out of it. Of course he does. Stone Cold needs this. You never felt like Seth needed it. You just felt like, well, who the fuck else?
Yeah.
And then with this one, you didn't feel like Drew had to have it. You just feel like, well, I guess he's popular. But I honestly feel, and you even kind of hit the nail on the head. This year with Brock alone, Brock has no reason not to hold on to it. He's definitely showed this year and last that he's still got a lot of great matches in him. He can still put over the right people, and he can still move his own character along. Mm-hmm. I think Brock holds it, to me, is the most interesting bit. If Brock holds it, who then?
He's done so much in character advancement. I mean, not just in, the idea of him, being the best, but he's himself advanced so much. He's a different beast than he's ever been. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like, ever since he got the Money in the Bank title match, when he came back, I was like, oh, shit, this is amazing.
That did everything for me, that Money in the Bank.
I miss Dancing Brock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dancing Brock was the best.
I have a year, Brock. I have a whole fucking year? Yeah. No, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Brock
that was amazing. What? I have a year? Yes! You didn't tell me that. I thought you knew.
He was amazing. And then he was also scary. I liked how he came out and he was like, what are you going to do? Like, to everyone. I even liked how he beat Kofi. I wish Kofi had the belt longer, but yeah, it makes sense. Like, beat him in 5 seconds. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he's got to take the title, that's the way to do it. You don't want some long drawn out thing where it destroys Kofi. You just have he blindsided Kofi. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, Kofi lost it. Yeah.
Yeah. Kofi fucking had a sharp one. So what's gonna happen? You know.
Yeah.
I get that too. I think we'll just roll right into it. As far as WrestleMania predictions go, let's get to it. Let's do WrestleMania predictions. Wrestling on the Rocks brings you wrestling predictions. Go ahead and give us a Prime subscribe to buy us a drink, because our predictions only get better the more we drink. And you can buy us a drink. You do what?
Can we do a 5-minute break?
You go ahead and do a 5-minute break right now.
All right.
Go ahead and slam us a Prime subscribe. Give us a drink. It costs you nothing. If you already have Amazon Prime, you can go to WrestlingOnTheRocks.com. Go to our about. Man, does he make noise? Go to our. There's a tab in there about Twitch. It'll let you know how do you link your Amazon Prime to your Twitch to get you the voila Twitch Prime. Twitch Prime is free for you if you already have Amazon Prime. What's really neat about it is it gives you a free subscribe to any Twitch channel. That could be us. Without costing you any more.
Why am I hearing that?
Because he took out his headphone.
Oh, come on.
Oh, here's what I'll do. I'll lower this down.
Oh, that's good. So
Kagura, because he won the Rumble, WWE rules, not mine. Because of how long he's been wrestling.
Deserves it, is what you're saying.
He deserves the match, yeah. Does that mean he deserves the title? I don't know. To be quite honest, I feel like ever since he won the Rumble, his character's come off so entitled and self-deserving that I kind of feel like it'd be neat to see him not win it. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be in the main event. I think Drew McIntyre, absolutely, regardless of Royal Rumble win or not, I think Drew McIntyre is the type of star that should be in contention for the world title in a WrestleMania. 100%. His character, since winning the Royal Rumble, has done nothing to put me on his side. Has done nothing to make me think I'd like to see him win. His character's done nothing but say, I deserve this, I'm owed this, Vince McMahon promised me this, and I'm here to collect that debt. That, to me, is not something I relate to. It's not something I really get behind. It's not something I feel like cheering. So, yeah, he deserves to be there. His character has not proven to me that he has earned my cheer. If he wins it, I'm not going to be invested in his championship reign because of that alone. I agree with you though that he won the Rumble. I liked the way he won the Rumble. I liked his performance in the Rumble. I liked his performance all of last year. I was kind of bummed, to be quite honest, that last year's Mania he was scheduled in a match with Roman Reigns on his return because you knew he had to lose, and I felt like, man, Drew's the kind of guy who should be going for the title, not be losing to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania in a grudge match. However, that grudge was pretty fucking great. And Drew did a really good job of making you kind of care about that match. I think Drew has an amazing look. I like the way his promos sound in general. I don't like any of the promos he's had since he's won the Royal Rumble. I do not cheer for him at this point. That's what I'm saying. Not that I don't believe he should be there or doesn't deserve it. That his character has fallen flat. And here's a character that I've been saying since he came back and since he was in NXT, where I thought, oh damn, that's world champion right there. So I'm behind the idea of keeping him and taking him to the moon. I am, however, hesitant to say that he is my champion right now. So there's that as well.
You gotta turn the volume up for Colin.
I'm gonna have to, yeah. I turned it down. I think also... Oh, we were talking about buying me a drink. Let's see, man. I don't want Brock there because Heyman's head of creative. So, I guess I don't understand that to a degree. Heyman's head of creative, so who better to know how to position the Brock character? You know what I mean?
Well, can I throw something out here?
Yeah, I wish you would.
So, I just did.
Mm-hmm.
For that break, I needed it. So, to respond to Kagaro, I think that that's an assumption that we need to break. That's the WWE's rules.
Oh, now
For
you're
the men's
going.
Royal Rumble, we've done this over and over again. Yeah, you win the Royal Rumble, you're gonna win the championship, and we don't need to do that anymore. It's in my eyes better to make it a toss-up and make it a situation where somebody's like maybe not booked to win it automatically. I think they did it well with the women's because Asuka didn't win it, and I think she definitely deserved it in my eyes. But I think we could definitely, in doing that with Drew, set a new precedent that, yeah, this doesn't necessarily mean it's the be-all and all. It looks like you're great and it lets you have a good push and maybe a cool redemption story, but you don't have to win it.
Alright.
And to that next one, be brought all the time. Heyman is with creative. I don't know. I think Heyman's done a fair amount to develop a lot of people. I think we've seen quite a few people on Raw come to the top and be interesting. Under Heyman, we've seen a lot more of The Fiend. I think, yeah, Brock and Heyman are close, but Heyman's also put his magic dust on a lot of people historically. I think maybe seeing Brock with the title is not Heyman, but other talent that need to build up, and he's also built interesting people around and not having titles. Seth is not anywhere near that title, but Seth is still a very competitive figure.
Yeah, I think also, you look at Heyman's history and all the times he was part of creative, it wasn't just Brock being the champion. I think the reason Drew McIntyre's in contention is because of Heyman. You know what I mean? I don't think that that's a mistake. I don't think that Paul Heyman is blinded into this is my one guy. In reality, if he's head of creative, if that's our belief that we're led to hold on to, he's not head of Brock alone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If he truly was just the manager of Brock, and then you're like, okay, he literally gets paid money if Brock wins the championship, then you can say, all right, there might be a conflict of interest here. He might make the wrong decision. He's here to do what he believes to be best for the story and for the company moving forward. So I don't think that Paul Heyman thinks that Brock needs to have the title. I think that he also understands that Brock Lesnar has been built so protected for so long that he's such a credible threat that defeating Brock Lesnar means something and makes someone. And I think he wants to make sure that that's protected. If everyone starts beating Brock Lesnar, then it doesn't mean anything anymore. I think that he's going to be more particular about who's going to beat him. I think it's very possible that Drew McIntyre could beat Brock eventually. I don't want to see it this Mania.
I think you have a good idea there. I think Brock was the only person coming in that had that mystique to him where they felt special and different and hard to beat.
Yeah.
Under Heyman, we've seen a lot of people gain this power again, where you're like, you know what? I don't know. He looks like a badass. He could do that. She looks like a badass. She might do it. I'm not sure. And we've seen Buddy Murphy looks tough. Aleister Black, Samoa Joe, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens again. These people look good. They look like, hey, I could see them doing it. Whereas before, Brock was really the only one. I think Heyman, if anything, has done a lot to make a lot of big, scary monsters or compelling people.
Yeah.
You could see winning or not winning.
When you look at the list of people who've beaten Brock Lesnar, it seems like a pretty protected list. Let's see, Brock Lesnar defeats. Let's see what comes up. But I want to say there's 5. I want to say there's Seth Rollins, John Cena, Eddie Guerrero, Kurt Angle. Goldberg? Is it really just those 5? Let's see. I have 9 here listed. Big Show defeated Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series. Kurt Angle defeated Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Eddie Guerrero defeated Brock Lesnar at No Way Out. Goldberg defeated Brock Lesnar at Mania. Goldberg defeated Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series. John Cena at Extreme Rules. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Triple H defeated Brock Lesnar, Undertaker, and Roman.
But
And I mean, this list doesn't even add Seth Rollins to that just yet. This was written several years ago. So you have maybe 10 wrestlers who've ever beaten Brock Lesnar.
yeah,
I think you protect that. I think you don't have Brock Lesnar be the kind of character that pitters out and just everyone starts beating and he just puts over the entire roster on his way out. I think this is the kind of character that is dominant in a dominant way for in a dominant amount of time, where when he finally loses, people go, holy shit. Like, Undertaker's streak ending was a shocking moment, and I think every Brock loss is a shocking moment. At the same time, I think people expect Brock to lose, so when he wins, it comes off as a shock moment. I think Brock's a very particular character.
I think Brock battles against the idea that they've created that at certain pay-per-views, especially the big four, when you build up certain stories, you're like, well, yeah, this is clearly going to end in this person winning it, you know? Like, you go into an event like, well, yeah, this is the happy story. They're going to win it, surely.
And I think the cool thing about the way they built the Brock character is that they've always had well, surely the good guy's got to win this one, but it's Brock Lesnar. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They've created a legitimacy around him that win or lose, you're not sure how this Brock Lesnar match is going to end.
Yeah. And good multi-year stories, I think, are what we need, and that can come from, well, I didn't win this time, but,
yeah,
you know, Kenny Omega and Okada, that took years for Kenny to win the IWGP Heavyweight title from Okada. And it took matches where you're like, wow, okay, I really want him to win it. And you had to extend it out. It makes it sweeter when it happens.
Yeah.
And it also builds it up so that you want to make sure that you have other people that look good and it doesn't look like a fluke, you know?
And it comes off more legitimate because it's all like he's trying, he's learning. Like, and it's, you want to, there's almost nothing better in wrestling to walk away from a match and go, the other guy should have won. That's almost the best feeling. Mm-hmm. I would say the best feeling is I'm so glad they finally won.
Kofi.
Yeah, you have the finally fucking did it, and then you have the other person should have won, are to me like the two top feelings in wrestling you can get.
Yeah. You want that versus why.
Yeah. Or obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, obviously he won. Obviously Seth Rollins won the Royal Rumble. Obviously. Who else is it going to be? Well, that's my fucking problem. That's exactly my problem, is all you said was who else? Why else? Not he's so this. It's, well, who the fuck else?
Yeah. Okay, Roman Reigns is going to go against Undertaker for the title. Well, clearly Reigns is going to win it. Because the EVP isn't going to wrestle with the title. Okay.
Yeah.
Will he or not?
And that was my problem with WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans. 100% of the victories were, well, obviously. Mm-hmm. And none of the victories were, oh my God, this moment. And nothing happened.
It was a hard WrestleMania to watch.
It was so bad, dude. So bad. I was talking about it not that long ago on one of my chats too, where it's like 34 to me was the most forgettable WrestleMania with the least amount of moments. There's nobody who goes back and goes, remember that at WrestleMania 34? Even the Charlotte Asuka thing was bullshit, dude.
Yeah, that would have been that would have been the one that needed to happen. No, I think WrestleMania 34 I always think of it out of order. I think it gets way further back because it seems so forgettable. It's like, oh, like I remember about as much of that as I do like WrestleMania 22. I'm like, oh, yeah, well, they're together, but there's like this huge gap between them.
Dude, 34 is so bad that me and Kevlar, who started this show strictly out of our love of wrestling, both got together and decided we were going to go to WrestleMania. It was going to be in New Orleans, and we were so fucking excited to do it. As we got all our finances together and everything was happening, a couple things came up, and neither one of us could make the finances happen anymore. And we said, you know what, forget it. We're just not going to go. And we were both so heartbroken we weren't going to the WrestleMania in New Orleans. As we watched it live together, every single match.
You were elated that you didn't go to the WrestleMania in New Orleans.
In every single match, we said, thank God we weren't here for this shit. At the end of the Mania, we looked at each other and said, can you imagine if we had wasted our money going to that? Like, that was our view at the end of it. Was it would have been a fucking waste. The highlight of WrestleMania would have been not being at WrestleMania. It would have been being in the city of New Orleans. You know what I mean? Like, it was that bad. And that's what I don't want here. It's what I didn't want last year. Last year I felt like was the biggest love letter to the fans that WWE's written in such a long time that it makes me a little nervous for this year, to be honest, dude. Last year was all like, oh, you guys like this person? We'll give them a huge victory. Oh, you like this person? We'll give them the main event for the first time ever in the history of time. Oh, you like them? We'll give them this special little thing. I'm so afraid that this year they're going to take it all back, dude.
Yeah, I mean...
You're like, oh, you think AEW's great? You
Yeah.
think they're great?
You think they're so good, then you get nothing.
I mean, looking at it, like, what... Okay, if not having gone this route, who other than Drew?
For Brock?
Yeah.
I think Edge.
Kofi would have been compelling. Edge?
Edge?
Would have been
Kofi?
Compelling story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to get one over on me this time. Would have been cool as hell.
Yeah. Let's see. I think you even could have gone to John Cena on one like this. Get John Cena his next big win and have it be against a Brock. You know?
Yeah, I would like that.
Trying to think who else is on the roster right now that's like a big... Because I feel like that you got to have such a believable fighter. I think a Bobby Lashley, if done right, could have done it.
I think he's the one that they have the most trouble building back up because they fucked Bobby.
They fucked him up so bad, but he has such a legitimate history that he could be the most legitimate person to go up against a Brock Lesnar, and they fucked it up. But if they did it right, a Bobby Lashley Brock Lesnar this year could have been fucking sick.
Could have been cool with Leo.
They put a gif out of
Jeez.
Of
What?
him.
What was that?
I moved. I shifted. Everything came loose.
Oh my god.
Someone posted a gif of Bobby when he first started with WWE.
Yeah?
Where Omaga's outside of the ring and it's a cage, and he's like scaring Bobby. Bobby runs, dives into the cage, knocks the cage apart, and knocks out Umaga with the cage. It was like, okay, that's cool as shit.
That's awesome.
But now we get this Bobby.
Yeah, this is our Bobby. Hey, yo,
We
Bobby!
get Lana Bobby.
Hey, yo, Bobby! Bobby from the movie!
He doesn't see.
We get Bobby Steely Girl.
My man! The
I
Almighty!
miss that.
Bobby used to talk with his butt.
Oh, yeah, when he would spread his butt cheeks apart like Ace Ventura? Yeah. My man! The man of the hour whose butt cheeks are sour.
Okay. Okay.
The man looks like money and his balls smell funny.
What? Okay.
My man, Bobby Lashley. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. So let's do it. Let's break it down a little bit. Go ahead and give us that Prime subscribe. Give us free drinks. If you go to WrestlingOnTheRocks.com, we give you a little walkthrough on how to attach your Amazon Prime to your Twitch to make the Twitch Prime to give us a free Prime subscribe, which is more difficult than it sounds. They don't make it easy, but it does go a long way for us, and we super appreciate that. And all this equipment comes out of my pocket at work, so anything it does to alleviate that just a little bit, including these bottles, would be nice. So
Those are my pockets.
those ones are your pockets for sure. But all this equipment and hardware is coming from me. So let's go through it a little bit. Should we go bottom down? I mean, since we started with Brock, should we just go down the list to the least important or go the other way? Let's go the other way. Otis and Dolph Ziggler.
I don't even know the matches are.
All right, Otis and Dolph Ziggler.
That's gotta be Otis.
They're fighting for Mandy Rose's boobses.
No.
They're not?
It's gotta be Otis.
They're fighting for
I think
boobsies here.
Yeah.
She is not a prize. She said that.
She said that, and then she did the splits.
Prizes get to say a lot of things that they aren't, but they're still prizes.
Oh my god. This is not going well.
So yeah, it's got to be Otis on that one for sure. Now, what do you think about the idea of Otis getting his first singles win and at a WrestleMania, no less?
I think it's cool. I think it's going to be a bunch of gaga. I think it's going to be Sonya coming out to help out. I think it's going to be Tucker. I think Mandy's going to come out and be like, what the hell? And it's going to be a big thing, like a big sweet moment. And I'm cool with that. But it's got to be Otis. And I think Dolph's going to make it look awesome.
I want her to come out with a completely raw meatloaf, like on a baking pan, and have him just start eating it down.
Oh, God. Not even like make it tartar, but look like it just like straight up raw fucking stuff.
Yes.
Oh no.
Hey, can you see if you can turn your volume up? I think I've turned my volume up as much as I can on my side, and I feel like you're getting lower.
Sorry, I scooted back some.
You scooted back? I thought your mic was coming through your headphones. Is that not the case?
Is it better now?
It is better now.
So it's not coming from the headphones.
It's not?
It's not coming from the headphones, then we blurred.
Does your headphones not have a mic?
Oh no, dude, they're power beats, yeah. But
Right. Huh. All right. Well,
Yeah.
this is important. This is good stuff. I'm glad we spent an hour prepping for this, and we still haven't got it sorted out. Welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks, where every show is our first show. Go ahead and smash that Prime subscribe. Get that free sub to us. Buy me a drink. And then we're going to go ahead and go through the rest of this. Elias versus King Corbin. That's a tough one, dude. That's a tough one because I think it's going to go to Elias. But I really think that I don't want it to.
yeah.
All right, I thought I was alone in that. I thought I was the only asshole to say I want Corbin to win this.
I want Corbin to win because I think it is truly a preference. I like Corbin more because Corbin is the best heel in the industry right now. He's the best I don't give a shit heel that there is. He's Ric Flair.
I think he is.
Yeah.
I have a hard time.
And
And you know what? What I like about this moment right here, for everyone to take a fucking moment and pause, is you are a big AEW fan. And you really, truly appreciate all the other companies more so than I do. For you to say you think Corbin's the best heel in the business is big, because a lot of people try to say that the best heel is either Jericho or MJF, and then the WWE people say, I feel like you don't know who Baron Corbin or Randy Orton are. For you to be able to acknowledge that in that realm, I think is an important topic to touch ground on.
I think the best heels period that we have right now are Corbin, then I would put MJF and Orton very close to each other because I really like MJF. But that's personal preference to me. I don't think Jericho's in it.
I don't think Jericho's close. I think my only problem with MJF is I think he's cheap heat.
Yeah. To me, I agree with that, but I think it's cheap heat in the best way.
Okay.
Like, I think he does it so much. I'm like, you know what? It's a lazy heel doing lazy heel shit. Fuck it, I'm cool with it. You know?
Okay. I don't have a problem with that. I think I just wish he didn't get cheered when he came out.
Yes. I think that goes to AEW's fan base more. It's the smarky fan base that likes it. The reason I like Corbin is Corbin's such an asshole, but and I would probably cheer Corbin come out because I like Corbin.
And I do. I've been to live shows and I've been to the SmackDowns where I'm one of 2-3 people cheering him, and we'll do the whole thing to him because hey, maybe we're smart, maybe we're stupid, we just like the guy. I'm not going to cheer for him. But you know what happens the second his music hits every time I've been? A sea of boos. Everyone just saying, boo, we hate him, get him out of here, I hate him, punch him in the face. I think there's a lot to be said for that.
Mm-hmm. I think MJF his weakness is that he plays, and this might be AEW, they play too much into the fan service for it. I think they could do a lot more.
I think
AGR Lunar.
I think they wink too much. What up, Gabe? Hey, Gabe, if you wanted to call in, you can call in. We're doing a call-in show now. That's how Clump did it.
You can try.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to work smoothly, okay? What?
Welcome to every show, Gabe, where our first show is like our next show and our last show is like the first. We don't know what the hell's going on. If you called in, we wouldn't even know what we're doing. We would just hope it all worked out right.
I mean, hopefully it's as smooth as that bowel movement.
Man, you'd have quick poops.
Hey, give me 5 minutes.
Yep.
My phone was in here.
Stocked up on toilet paper.
Yeah. I wouldn't even know what to say right now. My mind times are weird. We're happy to have you come through, though. Quick poll. Gabe, who do you think's the best heel in the business? Any company. Best heel, whole business.
Whole business.
So times are weird right now. I know Gabe hasn't been watching a whole bunch right now. I don't care. He says Baron Corbin. Boom!
Baron
Woo!
Dude, he gets the most hate. People fucking hate him, and that's beautiful to me.
Alright, so we both know who we want to win that one.
So my prediction is Elias. My wish is Corbin.
Mm-hmm. I even do you follow Corbin's Instagram?
Mm-hmm.
His Instagram is like the best heel Instagram and it's him just being him, but it's him I know he can't be that much of a douche because he's got to be a good guy, but it's him posting the douchiest things.
Yeah. When I ran into him at the airport, I tweeted out that I just saw him. I was like, oh, I just saw Baron Corbin, and I even added him because I wasn't afraid of it. And I was like, I'm on my flight to Phoenix to catch SmackDown. I was like, don't mean to spoiler alert, but I got a feeling we're going to see Corbin do some shit to Roman tonight. When he went to board the plane, he looked at me. Like, he knew that was me that tweeted it. I think it was obvious. He looked at me and then looked away. And I was like, oh, man, be cool. It's like, I don't give a shit. Like,
spoiled it.
He wasn't...
Yeah.
No one was shocked when he showed up. He cut a promo in the back. He wasn't even on TV.
Alright, fine.
So he didn't even do a thing. And so, it was just weird that he was kind of like, And I was like, dude, relax. It's fine. I'm wearing a Bailey shirt. You're going to pretend that I don't know who you are? I was wearing a Bailey shirt.
Probably because they all get attacked all the time.
I know. I felt so bad. And then we were getting our luggage. I was standing not far from him, and he was looking at me and then looking at the assholes trying to get autographs. And someone walks over to him and says something. And he goes, okay, man, cool. And I just looked at him, and I was kind of I wanted to be I'm sorry on behalf of all of us.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is why you're awesome.
Yeah.
I would honestly, it's funny, if I met him, I'd be I want to talk to you about your watch collection, because his watch collection's fucking amazing.
Is it pretty crazy?
Oh, yeah. He's talked about it before.
I feel like I'd want him to slap me in the face in front of everybody.
I'm sure he would do that.
I'll be like, I'll sell it, and I'll never sue you. So do it.
Easily, in this post, I've seen 6 figures in watches. And I'm and they're all really cool ass watches. They're not blinged out with dude's got taste.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you about a watch for something recently. Somebody.
Zodiac?
Oh, I remember. No, well, I remember that Zodiac was big, but when we go off air, remind me. I do want to talk to you about a watch.
Okay.
Always.
Let's see, Elias and King Corbin. So, is your prediction also Elias?
No, I'm gonna go all in on Corbin.
Going all in on Corbin?
Yeah. I will stand. This will be my hill to die on.
I think it's going to be Elias because of the Lion King ending of the last SmackDown.
Okay. That was a good ending.
Yeah.
Did you see how I did the video where someone did the audio?
Yeah. Right, son.
Yeah. Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley.
Lashley. It's got to be Lashley to me.
You know what makes the most sense about that is they've spent so much time building up Aleister as a badass. You feel like that it has to be Lashley because he's the only one they've ignored. So they've had to say, look at how badass Alistair is. So when Bobby Lashley beats Alistair, it's this shock like, oh my god, Bobby Lashley is badder-asser than Alistair Black.
Batter-asser.
Yes, badder-asser's a thing.
It's not a thing.
Gabe, is badder-asser a thing?
Whoa.
Dude, you can't just hawk loogies at your iPad, man. Relax.
Sorry. Allergies, boss.
Sorry. Yeah, I think Lashley on that one too. Women's Tag Team Championships: Kabuki Warriors versus Alexa and Nikki. I think they're going to give it to Alexa and Nikki.
Yeah.
I want it to be Kabuki Warriors, but I think they're going to give it to Alexa.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing enough with Kabuki Warriors right now, and I think that they might reset them, separate them out.
For the Kabuki Warriors?
Yeah, I have a feeling that Kairi Sane's going to go back to NXT.
No fucking
She's
way!
doing great.
What the fuck, man? This is the best she's ever been.
Yeah, she's definitely come a long way, I think.
Yeah.
We didn't care for her on NXT. This is now when we started caring.
I hated her in NXT. I wanted her to disappear. Her as Kabuki Warrior, I'm on board.
He hated the gimmick.
Yeah, but I mean, the reason I say that is we haven't seen shit of her. Like it's.
I think that's a travel thing. I think that's particular to this instance.
That's fair. That is fair.
GR Lunar does say there is batter-asser as well as baddest assist.
Huh. Interesting. No!
What's up? Hey, Clump, did you hear anything just now?
Oh my god.
Yeah. Smells like ranch dressing.
Gross. We purposefully didn't eat before this. What the hell? You just came from the bathroom.
Oh, yeah, I did do
Save
that.
that one up for it.
What the hell?
You were like, no, I have this purpose for you.
I have to wait till it's at full power. It's like in the video games when you get your special, but you got to build up to the finisher.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing.
It's a charge. Yeah, it's like a charged shot. You know, you don't waste that.
You just waste it with no one to hear.
Yeah.
SmackDown Tag Team Championship: Miz and Morrison. Hey, ho, ho.
Oh.
Versus New Day versus Usos. This one's complicated for me. I definitely want Miz and Morrison to disappear forever. However,
Yeah.
I think I always love a good moment for the New Day. I think I really, in my heart, I want Usos to win. Because the Usos have come into 2 WrestleManias now with the tag team titles. Prior to that, they'd never been to a WrestleMania in over 9 years with the company. And I'd like to see them walk out of WrestleMania with a tag team championship at least once in their career.
I thought they walked out last time.
I thought they lost it last time. Did they retain?
I think they retained because I remember you made a big deal about that you were really happy that they kept it.
WrestleMania 35.
See, my side prediction is that John Morrison finally comes with a new fucking entrance.
I can't wait for John Morrison to drop that goddamn music. I thought 8 years from the company would do it, but it did not.
No. When it came back and it was that, I was like, oh, we kept this part? And
I was so upset, dude. Super upset.
And I like the stories. Well, he looks like Jim Morrison. Yeah, do different. Because it seems even less relevant now.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see. I think Shane and Miz walked in with it.
Yes, they walked in with it, and then the Usos walked out with it.
I don't know if that's right. Let me see. Main event, reception, matches. I can't find it, man, in here. Man, Wikipedia is a fucking mess, man. Why don't you just have a goddamn list, man? Where's the storyline? Matchups, championship matchups. I don't even see Usos being listed on here. This is the worst website for this. I hate Wikipedia.
Well, don't
Who
do
fucking won? Who what? Oh wait, here's the results page. This will be better. Let's see. Cruiserweight. Women's Battle Royal. Oh, Revival lost it to Zack and Ryder. Andre. Alexa Bliss. Universal. AJ Orton. Come on now. The four-way tag team championships started out with Usos having it, and the winner, Usos defeated back to the bar. The Usos defeated Ricochet and Black, so they held on to it. Okay.
Yes, so I want New Day to win it. Because I don't think the New Day have retained it at WrestleMania either. I don't think they've walked away with one at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think I can give you that.
I think they need that moment too. And they're just like, I'm such a big fan of the New Day, and more, just so much of them, I appreciate them. They might be my favorite part of the WWE. I want them to win. I'm all in on them.
Yeah. I think I give it to them. Because, I mean, I know it took a long time for the Usos to get there, but when they got there, they walked in with it, lost it, and then they walked in with it and walked out with it. And that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. But I guess at a certain point, when you get high enough in your accomplishments, you want to walk in without it and walk out with it, right?
Yeah. And I could say this, too, is I could see the Usos winning it because they've had a rough year.
Yeah.
This has been a year of change, and they've risen. We're not... I think they deserved it for that.
Yeah.
I just don't want Miz and Morrison to retain because
I really don't.
Yeah.
I agree. I think any win apart from Miz and Morrison is good, but I do think that I guess New Day is who I would go for. I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going to say New Day on that one, but I'll be happy with the Usos if they do it. Man, I am stuck.
As long as it's not Miz and Morrison.
Yeah, just anyone but Miz and Morrison. I think will do it. Let's see. That brings us to Raw Tag Team Championship. Street Profits versus Austin Theory and Angel Garza. This to me just sounds like a fucking joke.
It's got to be Street Profits.
Yep. That's my prediction and not what I want. Let's see. Intercontinental Championship. Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan. I want it to be Sami.
I want it to be Sami. I think it's going to be Daniel.
Me too. I think Daniel Bryan wins it because they're showing off a thing. I think Sami as a character could really build from retaining against a Daniel Bryan.
Yes. I think Sami needs it, whereas Daniel Bryan maybe doesn't.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I don't know. I think it's like, how long will we have either of these guys in the company?
Exactly.
Because I feel like Sami Zayn in this role, like Sami Zayn in every role he's been in, he always buys into it so much and sells it so fucking hard that he wins. But he never gets to that level. And I know we always talk about like, well, maybe this person doesn't need a belt. This person, they're booked solidly. They don't need it. With certain people, Sami Zayn being one of them, I want him to get to that level of getting a WrestleMania moment. It's like...
Yeah, I want him to have a moment so bad.
Yes.
And you know what else? When you said it earlier, it just occurred to me, you said, well, who else if not Drew? What if it was KO? What if KO put out Brock? And you could build towards a SummerSlam with KO and Sami, or build towards a friendship and a fallout, and then have a Mania next year with the title on the line with Sami and KO. And God, what would that mean to those two guys?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I mean, I'm even more okay with Drew and Seth. Like those roles reversed and have Drew be the person taking out the Monday Night Messiah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I could see that. So who do you pick for Sami and Daniel Bryan?
Daniel Bryan.
You're picking Daniel Bryan? I'm going to pick Sami. I'm going to say Sami needs it. Sami needs it.
Yeah.
Brings us to Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins.
KO. It's got to be KO. If it's not KO, I'm going to be really upset.
It has to be. KO. It has to be. Seth's just talking too much shit. Undertaker versus AJ? I think it has to be Undertaker.
Yeah. I think so.
I don't see how you get out of there and have Undertaker not win it. I think it has to be Undertaker because I think you have to build towards next Mania. And like I just plotted out before, I'd like to see John Cena. I don't know how John Cena played into it before, but I'd like to see Undertaker. I think I'd like to see Brock win because we'll get to that in a second. I'd like to see Undertaker take it from Brock at SummerSlam. At Royal Rumble, I want to see him at Survivor Series defend it. I want to see Undertaker lose it to Bray Wyatt at Royal Rumble. And then at Mania next year, definitively lose to Bray Wyatt and put an end to his career and go ahead and retire The Undertaker and hand over the reins to Scariest Motherfucker to Bray.
Yes.
That's my long-term booking there. SmackDown Women's Championship. We got Bayley versus Lacey versus Tamina versus Naomi versus Sasha. I'm not happy about this one. Tamina, you dick. I'm not happy about this one. I'm just not.
I want Sasha to win it.
Yeah, a lot of people want Sasha to win. I understand that. I get it.
But you want Bayley to win, which is I understand and get too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if Bayley, well, here's the thing though, is Sasha's never had a WrestleMania moment. This one's probably the most complicated for me, right? Because I go, oh well, Naomi won one, Tamina's never had a moment.
Gio Luna, go fuck yourself.
Gio Luna's a piece of shit. Fucking Nia Jackson here, you shit.
I could fucking see that too.
I could 100% see her coming in all of a sudden, just saying, doing the whole like the Hardy Brothers did. You know what? We got one more person. We're not going to do a fatal 5-way. It's still going to be a fatal 6-way, whatever that means. Mm-hmm. But here's the replacement, and it's I'm not like most bitches. I could see that. I could see Nia winning it. However, Nia's won it at Mania last year. Or 2 years ago, I should say, really. Because that's when it was.
She did, yeah.
She won it off Alexa in New Orleans, and no one gave a fuck. I think you give Sasha that moment, and you build towards a Sasha Bayley thing all the way to either SummerSlam or next Mania. I think SummerSlam. I think you build towards SummerSlam with Bayley and Sasha on the card. The thing is I think that no one's done better. As much as I love Becky Lynch. I think no one has done better as SmackDown champion than Bayley. I think Bayley has highlighted the entire SmackDown roster in a way that no one else has done.
Yeah.
I think that the fact that everyone thinks that Bayley shouldn't be champion, everyone thinks that everyone who Bayley faces should have won that match. Every match, they go, it should have been the other person. The other person had it. Is a testament to how good Bayley is. Bayley's found a way to defend the title successfully against everyone in the whole roster and make everyone think the other person was the better wrestler. I think it's a testament to Bayley as a SmackDown champion, and I think that no one's done a better job with that roster than her. So part of me goes, she needs to hold on to it longer. She needs to have a thing. I think Sasha needs to take it off Bayley one-on-one. I don't think it's the way to do it. But I think if Sasha gets one over on a Tamina or a Naomi or a Lacey, with all the shit she's been talking to Lacey, I think Sasha gets one over on Lacey and Bayley standing there going, well, what the fuck just happened? Yeah. Sasha can play innocent. I don't know. All I do is beat the shit out of Lacey. I don't know what was going on with his title business. I think you can have a very compelling story moving into like a SummerSlam. Or even dragging it out longer if you wanted. So I'm a little torn. I don't want to see Bayley lose it. Bayley's retained at WrestleMania 33 before. Naomi won at 33 as well. Lacey, I think, is too green to be winning at WrestleManias and earning it. Tamina, like you said before, who the fuck is this? Sasha's never had a WrestleMania moment.
Not like the others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sasha's never had a moment. Sasha's never defended a title successfully. I think Sasha has more to gain out of winning it.
Mm-hmm. I think Sasha turning face would be kind of cool too, because then I mean, either or. I think Bailey as a heel's been really good. I think Bailey as a talented and competent heel would be awesome. Or Bailey could be a face, but I think Bailey being a face who's like still this more serious person would be awesome too. You know.
I think that we end up with Bailey as the face, but a more human style face than we're used to. I think Sasha goes full heel. I think it's how that goes.
Yeah, black hair.
Yeah. NXT Women's Championship, Rhea versus Charlotte.
Rhea.
I think Rhea has to win it, and I think I almost don't really care to watch it.
Yeah. You're going to tell me that you're the person who is in many ways seen and, arguably is the highest booked person in this company is going to go down market? Because NXT is still a developmental. They say it's a main roster brand and they keep trying to push it, but is it really? I think it's awesome that we're having an NXT title defended at WrestleMania, but this seems weird.
It seems super weird, out of place.
If Charlotte won it, what happened? Is she going to stay in NXT? Because I don't see that happening.
I wouldn't have a problem with it, though. To be honest, I think I'd prefer the Raw and SmackDown brands without her. I think it would be cool to see her down in NXT helping those women. But at the same time, I don't think those women need her anymore. I think the single best... My favorite wrestlers are on the main roster, or are not in NXT. But I wholeheartedly believe that the best women's roster out there today is in NXT. In any company. They have the single best women's roster. They do not need Charlotte Flair.
I agree 100%. I feel like Charlotte... This is such a weird space to have this occur. It would have just been easier if Charlotte... If Shayna had just won this.
If Shayna won this? Oh, yeah. If Shayna won the Rumble, yeah.
Because it's just weird. And it seems like a wasted Royal Rumble win.
It's 100% a waste to me. I got no point. No point. Kevlar, he's not here, but his stepson, by the way, Jameson Colbrute, this shit is so good, man.
There's none left. There's going to be none left. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty low.
Yeah, thanks.
Looks like we got to go to Bash's.
Oh, my God. I just got that.
I need more. I need a case of this. If anyone could get me a case of this or a legal form saying I'm not allowed to further drink it on TV or Twitch, either one of those works for me. I agree. I think Shayna winning the Raw or the Rumble would have made more sense. I think Charlotte versus Rhea on paper sounds like a good match. But that's like it to me. It sounds like a good match, not an interesting story. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I kind of don't care, and I don't think either one of them have done a lot for me to care. And I'm a fan of Rhea, and I've met Charlotte Flair in person, and I walked away a huge fan. I walked up when I first met Charlotte. My thought was, I am not going to like this person, just to be honest. I ended up standing and talking to her for probably 20-something minutes. And I walked away and went, well, shit. That person was awesome. I wouldn't mind if they won everything forever from now on. You know what I mean? Like, that was a cool fucking person. So I walked away a big fan of Charlotte. So it's not like... I don't want it to sound like I don't like them. I like Rhea and I like Charlotte. As people, as wrestlers, they're skilled. Their characters have not drawn me in to care enough about either one of them winning this match significantly. And I think more so, Rhea should retain. I don't see how a Charlotte win would be helpful to anyone.
Yeah.
It doesn't prove anything.
Especially, I don't see her staying down there.
Yeah.
I think it'd be beneficial if she did, but... I mean, and then if she wins it and then throws it aside, fuck that. That's terrible, you know?
Yeah, and even if she won it and went down there, like I said, I don't think that team needs her. I don't mean that in a mean way. I think that the greatest women's division in all of wrestling happens to be in NXT, and I don't think they need a bunch of people from the outside coming in right now. If they did that, cool, I'd be interested to see how it played out. Nothing against either of those talents. The build that's been given to them, the TV time that was given to them, the way it was written hasn't made me care, and I just want to state that's not the fault of theirs or them as performers, but just the presentation of it has not made me give a shit.
Yes. I agree with that.
I just feel bad. I would hate to think that Charlotte Flair or Rhea would watch our clip and think, what fucking pieces of shit. I hate those assholes. They hate me. I'd hate for them to think that. You know what I mean? Because that's just not the case. It's just flat out not the case. I've met Charlotte. She was amazing. She was awesome. Couldn't have been nicer. Never met Rhea. But she's an incredible performer. She was an amazing NXT UK champion. They're great. They're absolutely phenomenal at what they do. The way that it's been presented to me on TV has not made me care, and that's just it of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would hate to think, like I said, I'd hate to think that they thought that we were trying to talk shit, because I'm not trying to talk shit.
Or if Nia watched this, you're totally cool with Nia being like, fuck them.
Yeah, fuck Nia. You know what, Nia? If you're watching, turn it off.
Okay.
No. All right.
What if you met Nia and she turned out to be the greatest person ever?
I said before that if I was at a meet and greet and she was at one of the tables, I would keep walking.
God damn it.
Yeah.
At this point, she would get the Sean Spears treatment from me.
Oh yeah, definitely.
100%. I have no desire to meet that person on any level. Even if someone were to invite me to a party and she would be there, I wouldn't be all like, "Oh, hey, don't you do a thing?" and a thing. I'd ignore it. Even if I'm wearing a wrestling T-shirt and she would approach me and say, "Oh, you like wrestling?" I'd be like, "I've never heard of it."
Oh, this whole thing?
Stop it.
What's up? I'm trying to give Clump the full effect.
This is why we have no viewers.
Raw Women's Championship, Becky versus Shayna. What's your prediction and what do you want?
I think Becky and both accounts.
I think it's kind of got to be Becky.
Yeah.
I think Shayna just showed up.
Yeah. I think Shayna showed up with, and they've tried, but the story for Shayna coming in hasn't been great. It's been incredibly aggressive, and I get that, but I feel like the story if she won the Royal Rumble would be significantly more compelling than this.
I agree with that too. If she won the Rumble, I'd have a different tune and say, well, I don't know, maybe this would be pretty cool if she did it. I think that beating Becky at this point would mean something big. And I don't think Shayna needs that.
Mm-hmm.
I think you save it. I think the man is a big fucking character. Although I'll say this, I don't think Austin ever held a title from Mania to Mania. I don't think he ever held it that long, but I also think he was being screwed out of it. And I would like to see, if Becky's going to lose the title, I want to see her screwed out of it. So maybe my prediction is this. If it's two people in that match, it's a Becky win. If Becky loses, Ronda comes back.
Yes.
Did you hear that, Clump?
Yeah, they're getting louder. It's impressive.
It's not, Clump. It's not.
Producer, I can think what I want.
You don't have smell-o-vision.
They're getting louder.
Listen, I'm cool with it because, I was going to try and do them myself, but that's why I had to take that break. It was not going to work.
It's true. All right, so I think
another chair.
I think if you have truly Becky versus Shayna, I think Becky wins. I think if Becky loses, that's because Ronda's back.
Yes.
John Cena versus The Fiend. It's got to be Fiend. He's got to win it.
Yeah, there's no... If John Cena beats The Fiend, I will have a hard time watching wrestling on Monday.
Because at that point, let's speculate. If John Cena beats The Fiend, What for? What's next?
Mm-hmm.
Who does what next? What does John Cena gain by beating The Fiend?
Yes.
Nothing. Because at the end of the day, could John Cena, after losing to The Fiend, challenge Brock Lesnar for the title if he wanted?
I mean, he could, but...
Would anyone think that he doesn't deserve it or doesn't? If John Cena loses to The Fiend, Monday comes out and says, I want Roman Reigns for the title, is anyone going to say, who the fuck is that guy? He doesn't deserve a title shot.
No one. Not at all.
No. He wins either way. If Bray Wyatt beats John Cena, that's huge for his character to get past that moment where he thought the downfall was. I think we beat John Cena, and like we talked about before, we lead towards the beginning of the downfall was his loss to John Cena. The nail in the coffin was his loss to Undertaker.
Yeah. No, it's...
Oh, did I say John Cena? You know what, Gabe? Maybe you're not drinking all night, but some of us are.
I feel like...
What?
You're mixing it up.
Sorry.
I'm with you, absolutely. There's no benefit to John Cena winning it. John Cena's career is defined. John Cena is John Cena. He's been dominant for most of the last 20 years. However, Bray Wyatt fucking needs this.
I think he does. I think Bray needs it.
More, I think he deserves it.
Yeah.
I think Bray's built himself up to be, Bray wins. Bray gets it.
And think about it from this. I mean, you go all the way back to Husky Harry. You think about the storyline of Bray Wyatt, even all the way to his championship title reign that he lost at WrestleMania to Randy Orton, just so Orton could flip it to Jinder Mahal, which, is fine, whatever. But Bray Wyatt needs this win. He needs to avenge all that because Bray Wyatt, in the midst of all of that, has become the most compelling and talked about character in all of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Whether people like AEW or WWE and they say WWE's full of shit, this and that, they also say, but The Fiend is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
So I think that absolutely a character that's able to, just a person that's able to provide that level of a character that we haven't seen in so long. I think, you give him that win and you move that character forward and you don't do anything to compromise that character.
Mm-hmm.
Any more than you've already done, I guess. Edge versus Randy Orton. I think you give it to Edge.
Yeah, I think Edge.
But wouldn't that be so cool if Randy Orton drove over Edge in like a one of those concrete flatteners? What do they call those? Steamrollers?
Yeah. I was thinking have Randy do a sunset flip powerbomb off of a ladder onto Edge.
Yeah.
Because that's the move Edge said. There's a match with, and he's like, yeah, that's what I started not having feeling in my hands. Just do that.
Yeah. The match just starts with Randy Orton walking out there, cocking a gun, and shooting Edge in the face, and then he pins him.
I want Randy to try and pull out the punt again and get it countered.
Ooh.
Because I missed the punt.
He tried it on somebody not that long ago. It was last year. I want to say he tried it on Jeff Hardy or something.
Yeah. No, the punt's fucking amazing. It's
ridiculous.
It's the dumbest. It's the dumbest, but also the most. Yeah, that makes the most sense. I'm gonna kick you in the fucking head at full speed.
I'm gonna run and kick you in the fucking head. I wish you wouldn't. Well, here it comes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we both agree. Edge, Universal Championship, Goldberg versus Roman Reigns. Obviously, we all thought it was going to be Roman Reigns, but apparently, officially, WWE has announced that Roman will not be in it. Is that correct?
Yeah. We don't know if Goldberg's going to be in it.
Really? Is that where they're at with it?
Do it. That's what I heard. Is it could be both.
They could both be out. Well, if they're both out, you just don't have a match with the Universal title.
I think that might be the best thing to do.
So the only speculation I've heard is that Braun Strowman takes Roman's spot.
I kind of would want Braun to win it then.
In a way, yeah.
I think and I don't mean, I think Braun's done a lot, and he's improved a lot as a character.
I think if you give Braun the Universal title, you make Braun show you why he should have it.
Yes.
Like, this could be the turning point of his career. And it sounds shitty, and it's always like, well, you don't give someone the title and then say, now prove it. But, I mean, I'm no fucking booker. But I say if Braun wins it, all right, Braun, prove it. You know? Get over it.
Becky and Bayley did it, yeah.
Yeah, I guess in a sense. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they were both over, but particularly Bayley got the fuck over.
Bayley was in a bad spot, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. So, I don't know. I think you just don't have Goldberg leave with the title. I think he just can't leave with a title.
It's weird. I mean, who else could jump in?
Yeah, I don't know that either.
Keith Lee.
Everyone's saying Matt Riddle. They want Matt Riddle, but I think that Matt Riddle's such a dipshit. He's fucked that up. I don't think we get a Matt Riddle match.
Nope. Keith Lee.
Keith Lee. I think that'd be fucking cool. But I don't know. You know what? I think Kevin Nash comes back with Scott Hall in the corner and a taser. And that's how we get out of this fucking mess.
A lot of gray ass hair in this match.
Yeah, someone find a goddamn taser and Scott Hall on the Nash. Whatever.
Is that? Oh, it's Scott Hall. Oh.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's Scott Hall. Oh my God, he's got a taser. What is he gonna do? I think you get a taser. You taser Goldberg in the goddamn nuts, and Kevin Nash goes over, like he should.
David Arquette comes out.
Ooh.
And Vince Russo,
Bro.
To swear, bro.
Vince Russo comes out in Liv Morgan's corner one day. Bro.
Oh my God.
Everyone just broing.
That's not gonna happen.
All right, I think that brings us to the final one. WWE Championship, Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre. Are we both in agreement? Brock Lesnar needs this win.
Brock needs this.
Brock needs this win, and Drew can go straight to hell.
Well, actually, no. Brock doesn't need this win.
He needs it.
Brock doesn't need this win. Drew needs this loss. It can't be Drew. You know what I mean? Like, if Brock loses it, Brock could lose it and come back. Brock is completely losing.
Yeah.
The WWE needs this win. Drew needs to lose this shit.
That's a good point. Drew needs the loss more than anyone needs this win.
Yes.
I agree. I agree with all that. I think that's where we stand on WrestleMania. I appreciate everybody chiming in with all their predictions. That was a slight at no one being in the chat. Anyways,
Great job.
Heel Marsh, go ahead, slam us a Prime subscribe, buy us a drink because I know I need one.
Oh, Jesus.
What?
I'm going to buy you a ticket to rehab soon.
On the Jeff Hardy Express. Go ahead, slam that Prime subscribe. Give us your $2. It costs you nothing. Doesn't charge you anything. If you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime for free. All you got to do is sign in and attach the accounts. Go to our website, WrestlingOnTheRocks.com, to find that. On there, you'll find our shop for t-shirts. If you like Batista screaming, "Give me what I want," we got a little something for you. If you like us just being dope, a little something for you. Check out Sam Stackhouse's site on Pro Wrestling Tees as well, just because he's a favorite of the show and a friend of the show. And let us know what you think. go ahead and give us all those things. Clint, you got anything else you want to say?
No, thank you guys all for watching. Those of you that joined in, thank you for joining in. Have a wonderful night. Thank you guys. Be safe.
Stay inside.
Be safe and stay inside. Cheers.
Yes.
Last call, Clump.